We are live here at Atlanta Motor Speedway running the new configuration of the track, not the old Atlanta that drivers are used to seeing. So it's going to be a little bit different tonight. And I'm joined here by Gavin, so I don't ruin my throat the rest that I have so far. Gavin, what do you see, happening in this race with it being a different track here?
I see a lot of unpredictability going on. I mean, not a lot of drivers have raced here. It hasn't been a very popular reconfiguration. Not a lot of people have driven on it. I'll be really interested to see how the drivers tackle it tonight.
Yeah, man, that's what seems to be one big thing. It's not necessarily labeled a super speedway to be exact, but the way that it's laid out, I mean, it basically is. But their drivers are just finishing up qualifying here real soon. Looks like we've got a roughly, I think, 27 car field here, maybe 26 because race control is in there. We have a newcomer, Justin Ray, looking through here just to make sure, see if we have any new guys. Looks like we only have one new driver in here. We were supposed to have two, but iRating was just a little too high for Hubka's liking. And I'm gonna see, this is gonna be, you're gonna start seeing the drivers that are on teams. They're gonna kind of all come together and shove each other, and then the drivers that don't have teams are gonna be put in a really weird position because they're not gonna have a drafting partner, and especially in these Gen 6 cars here, the draft is just such a heavy factor that if you lose it, you're gonna lose a lap incredibly quickly. But it's going to be, I'm not sure how many laps it was. I honestly looked at that. But Hubka, he was on the fence of giving these drivers a fast repair. And he did, I believe, just 2 hours before he put the session up. So drivers are going to have a fast repair tonight. Maybe a little bit more aggressive, knowing that they'll have that in their pocket. Hopefully they won't do that exactly, though, because that'll cause a lot of accidents. Drivers are going to have to drive a little bit smart here, I'd say. Not that they've had many issues. They tend to clean it up. Something happens at the start of the race, and it's cleaned up towards the end of it. But I believe they should be coming up on the finish of qualifying here really, really soon. Probably even less than a second, if I had to say.
Yeah, I know you just brought up the fast repair. That's really interesting because everyone has a borderline get out of jail free card. It doesn't mean people are going to drive over their heads, but obviously if someone is going to make a move, they're going to think, oh, well, I can get out of this and go for it. So I think we're probably going to see a decent amount of accidents in the beginning of the race. But I think definitely towards the end, like you said, they'll definitely probably clean it up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see with these draft packages. This is when the Fords, they tend to shine because they have that flat front end compared to the Chevys, which the Chevys have a pretty pointy front end. Toyotas somewhat pointy, but the Fords have a flat front end, so they're going to be really able to push down the straights. You don't want to be bumping in the corners because that's when you see a lot of drivers, they'll get hooked and sent around, just not really on purpose, but just by complete accident from drivers just trying to get all they can early in the race. But they're going to have to realize that, we can't be pushing that early. We're going to have to drive just a little bit safer here. The qualifying should be in very soon for them. Last week we saw almost a repeat winner in Dylan Hervatin. He came off of 3 and 4 from Michigan, had the lead. Tate shot out of a cannon out of nowhere. And Dylan, he went from first to ninth because he kind of came across the nose of the drivers, got spun into the grass, finished ninth. Tate ended up taking home his first win of the season. Dylan just missed out on that repeat. So it's going to be interesting to see, are we going to start seeing repeats of drivers winning? But this is kind of a toss-up track because super speedways, they tend to be a great equalizer because it really just depends on if you can get somebody to draft. You can go with the front, go up to the front most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Super speedways rely on a lot, a little bit of luck, who your teammates are, pit strategy. Super speedways, so much can factor in to who wins a race. It's always exciting to watch, and it's always exciting to see the underdogs up there at the end.
Yeah. We saw, some pretty odd underdogs. I remember the year David Reagan won. There's been some drivers that you saw that, like, where did they come from that win? Sometimes they're small car teams, just kind of pull something out at the end. But I'll go over the qualifying order here real quick for you. Looks like it's Dalton McKinney. He sits on pole, followed by Dylan Hervatin. Third is Christopher Tate, last week's winner. Fourth, Robert Kinney. Fifth, Tom Bourne. Sixth, Robert Lawrence. Seventh, Christian Ruth. Eighth, Ryland Fonchinato. Ninth, Chris Wheeler. 10th, Mike Sabanowski. 11th, Jacob Bowen. 12th, Christopher Lawrence. I'll keep pointing. 13th, Christopher Birds. 14th, Zach Woods. 14th, Zach Woods. 15th, David Waddespaw. 16th, Matthew Rodriguez. 17th, Noah Owens. 18th, Kyle Gartner. 19th, James Silver. 20th, Justin Ray. 21st, Kyle Spees. 22nd, Jeffrey Vickery. 23rd is Mike Taylor, which he is race control. And Chris Reese was 24th, so he'll be moved up to 23rd to take the spot of race control in this, so he'll be moved up just one. And I don't really see, truly your qualifying position at this track doesn't really truly matter, I think, because it's just so draft heavy here.
Yeah, absolutely. It also depends on a lot. Some guys will probably drop to the back, either group up with their teammates, or even if they're scared of wrecks, they'll drop to the back, get away from it all, and save their fast pair for the end of the race.
Yeah, I'm gonna start looking, especially with this pit road entrance. This is still the old Atlanta pit road, so drivers are gonna be carrying a lot more speed coming down pit road, and it's gonna be a little bit harder to enter knowing that they're so close together now. They're not gonna be spaced out like they were before. So I'm kind of expecting to see some drivers overshoot pit road, maybe just a little bit, maybe a lot. I know I talked to Gartner earlier. He said, yeah, I just flat out missed the entrance, just drove right through it. So it's going to be interesting to see which drivers can get in pit road clean, which drivers can get off pit road clean. Because if you miss your pit and even have to back up for about half a second, that really ruins your pit stop there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't have a slow pit stop here because you end up losing the draft. And once you lose the draft, if there's no cautions, your race is almost over, is what I've learned from plate races.
It's like you're gonna start rolling off now. So McKinney, he's gonna have the 10, or the 45 of Tate. That's his teammate. Hervatten's gonna have the 10 of Kenny behind him. That's a Ford and a Toyota. They're gonna have 2 Chevys on the bottom. The Chevys are gonna start to struggle here with pushing each other, but they'll get the green flag when they go by, just doing some pace laps right now, currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said earlier, those Fords will have the advantage with those flat bumpers, which is really interesting. You see Fords shine a lot on super speedways, and that is why. It's a lot easier for them to get locked up. I know the bumper hook is pretty strong. I know the last time I raced this new configuration, there was a lot of bumper hooking going on. I don't know if that's been patched out or fixed, but definitely something to keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, you see, look at Kenny. Kenny's got a little bit of a kind of a joke on his spoiler. It says "push me, please," but he's gonna have to see if Lawrence. It looks like they've got a pretty good lineup on that top. They got 2 Fords and 1 Toyota. Looks like the bottom has almost all Chevys, I think. Nope, 2 Chevys, 1 Toyota. But start's going to be on McKinney on the start. Dylan's going to try to get a good fire off also. Might not matter too much here. But McKinney has his teammate and Tate behind him. Green flags in the air. Atlanta, new configuration for these drivers. New week. Repeat winner or not. You see Kenny giving Hervatten a bump already. Trying to get him going. And I want to see if this middle lane here at Super Speedways, I've noticed since I do so many HSR races, that middle lane can always tend to get going even with a small amount of cars. But it's kind of a 3-car breakaway right now for a little bit. Tate goes down to the apron, decides he probably doesn't want to be up there. I don't blame him at all for doing that one bit. Hervatten goes to lead off of Kenny's bumper. Looks like he's gonna stay that middle lane right now, not go down just yet. Thinking about it, looks like Kenny's trying to search. Hervatten's gonna let him go right down to the bottom, not fight him at all. Don't blame him for doing that. Lawrence is gonna come to Hervatten's bumper now. Kenny's gonna have to hope that Dalton McKinney will give him a shove. That middle lane's not very formed up well at all. They're kind of a bunch of stragglers. That bottom lane is starting to gain a lot of cars, but as I say that, Roos goes to the top.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement going on between these 2 lanes, drivers switching up and down, and I noticed a lot of it is happening on the front stretch here. That's what makes Atlanta being a super speedway so unique, in my opinion, is that front stretch. It's such a unique design. It's not like Daytona Talladega, where it's a tri-oval. It's a lot closer to a quad oval, which also makes it interesting when they come off 3 and 4, 3 wide. It's always a bit of a squeeze and a pinch sometimes if they don't do it right. So that'll be interesting to see later on in the race once people get a little more racy.
Looks like that middle lane is starting to pick up some drivers. It's not a lot, though. Looks like they've kind of evened out with the bottom lane on the number of cars that they have. You see the 98 of Roberge. He's kind of just lurking back there, deciding what lane he wants. We have the 1 of David Modespa deciding to go top. Roberge is kind of squeezing him. Almost got turned on accident there. Looks like Modespa is just trying to catch the draft of Lawrence right in front of him. Just hold it. And this is going to be interesting now because these drivers leading up here are going to start to burn more fuel and these drivers behind him. So that's going to come into a factor when these guys start to go through pit stops, because let's say Hervatin, if he stays up here, he's not going to have as much fuel as Lawrence or Rylan will have. They'll have maybe 1 or 2 laps more than him, so that might throw off his strategy for this race. Hervatin looks like he gave up the outside to Lawrence. Lawrence is going to go the outside of him. Kenny's going to come to the bumper up for Hervatin now. Going through the travel of the track. Hervatin stayed middle as long as he could. Lawrence kind of squeezed his way up there right by him. Found a way to get in that lane. Lawrence is starting to lose time.
Yeah, I know. I have learned recently from these super speedway races that that top middle line is definitely the way to go. Once everyone gets situated, it is a lot faster than the inside line if you do it correctly. But as I say that, they really break up there with the 14 seemingly losing it almost going into the corner there.
Yeah, Roos, kind of have a joke here at Ghost Cup Series. He's trying to do an experiment how to make the wall move. He's hit it so many times, so maybe he's trying to do that, but maybe not this early on. He's hit it with his right side twice, still didn't move, but you see he's getting a huge run off of that corner. Going to try to get to Hervatin's bump. That's when you can maybe bump on the straights, but when you get in the corners, you may want to crack that throttle just a little bit. Make sure you don't have to deal with him as Hervatin tries to go to the bottom of Lawrence. He's got no help, though, so he has to make the right move. Looks like he does. He tries to come up in front of Lawrence, just not clear. Yes, now he's got to go all the way back to the 69, which is about 2.5 car lengths to him. The 69 gets a huge run. This driver shove, or you see Wheeler getting loose. Oh, he comes off the bottom. Good move. Wheeler almost got turned by Bowen. Almost.
That was definitely a good catch there on him.
Yeah, almost bad. You saw him get off the bottom for a little bit, but Roos is going to try to go the lead. He's going to try to go around Lawrence, shoots to the bottom. Almost clear of him now. Drivers have to time their runs perfectly here, because if you misjudge it, it's going to be very, very difficult to get back in line. It kind of is like, who's going to let me in? Because some drivers won't do it. Some drivers will. We see Hervatin searching around on Roos, trying to get him lined up perfectly. Clips the apron a little bit. Got to be careful with doing that. But Lawrence, he's had to kind of fend off 2 drivers that tried to get him on the inside here really, really soon.
Yeah, that outside line has so many more cars. There's someone else I see there moves up. I didn't quite catch the number. As everyone's in that top line, I think everyone has calmed down a little. I don't think you're going to see a lot of racing going on for a little bit here.
Yeah, it looks like drivers probably have calmed down. Looks like we've got some maybe graphical issues with me. That shouldn't be a problem, though. Drivers probably just so far back, it's just not being able to load them. So if you see drivers that say out, they are not out of the race, just out of my field of view for them. They are currently in the race. See Lawrence, he's still up front. He's not. As soon as that middle lane started to form, that bottom lane got a lot more cars seemingly out of nowhere. So Roos is trying to get to the bumper or quarter panel. Lawrence can't get there. Lawrence, I think he saw it, came down and blocked just a little bit. Now the actual Lawrence spelled with the W is going to come up on that top lane. Looks like Woods had a little bit of a blinking issue there for half a second. But Roos is still trying to fight hard. He's gotten under Lawrence now. He's going to have to hope that Dylan can give him an arrow shove. Driver's trying to wrap the bottom, getting a little bit loose. He's kind of bobbing and weaving off the bottom of it for just a little bit. They're racing pretty clean here so far. Drivers avoid a wreck between Bowen and Wheeler, so good driving. About, 12 laps into the race here so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of clean driving. There's been a lot of space left here. Not a lot of over-aggressive side drafting going on. Everyone's giving each other lots of room. They all know it's early in the race. They're all taking their time. I'm sure there are a lot of guys in the back probably saving some fuel, trying to pull out a strategy card later in the race.
And I don't blame him. Kind of got like a second pack there. I'll actually make sure my graphics are right for y'all. That is exactly why. I did not reset that to this.
Oh! That is the one car of David Modespa, who just got a little squirrely there off 1 and 2. Does a good job of holding on to it. I don't see a lot of damage, and I don't see that he took anyone else with him.
I'll go with fixing some graphics. Looks like it decided to set my cars back to 20, but you can see, looks like he just kind of bobbles it out of nowhere and just kind of dirt tracks it down. Good save from Modespa. I don't think that's going to be damage for him at all. It's kind of a little bit of like a weird incident there. It looks like he just kind of got up in the gray area way high on the track. When you get up there, you just lose almost all the grip that you had before. And that's what it looks like that happened to him, but good save from Modespa there.
Absolutely. I've noticed that these cars, it seems like, especially at Atlanta, sometimes when the tires get a little worn, you go into that corner a little too much, and the back end will snap out from you. And mostly you're along for the ride, and you just gotta hope that everyone around you does a good job of avoiding it, which everyone did. He held on to it, made a good save, and we stayed green here.
Yeah, Modest Spy, last season when I ran with him, he wasn't really a up front driver, but he started to change that this season. He started to run up front, saying that he is running in the back, but no, nothing really big. It's only 15 laps of the race. He doesn't have to be up front to start this thing off immediately. He can afford to be back there. But Bourne, he's gone to the lead in front of Lawrence. So kind of a little bit of different faces up here now. Lawrence has gotten to his quarter panel now. And he's kind of trying to get that side draft, cut the air, really pull that car back to him, and then get as far away as you can. That's what you'll see at these super speedways. Drivers love to do that. And even at ovals, that can really stall a car out. Racing side by side, especially in the Gen 6s, it's worse in them than it is the next gens for these cars.
Yeah, the Gen 6, that was one of the big things when they replaced the Gen 6 with the next gen cars, was they wanted to lessen the impact of the side draft, which, in my opinion, they accomplished with the next gen car, but these aren't the next gen cars. These are the old Gen 6 cars where the side draft is very much strong and very much present.
See, looks like drivers have decided to go pretty calm up here. Kind of got these stragglers back here running single file. Got the 10 and the 99. We kind of got this little pack back here, not really keeping touch exactly. What has happened to Tate? Something happened to Tate early on. He didn't come down pit road. Maybe some other issue. Oh, maybe his VR had died, because I know that he does run that, so maybe a little bit of a technical issues. Bourne's gotten under Kenny. He's going to try to get second from him now, but Lawrence, and then you see Robert Lawrence in the 34, Christopher Lawrence in the 9. They don't have many cars that they need. Looks like Hervaten's going to switch lanes, go to that outside. I've got to secretly pull for Hervaten because he is my driver. So hopefully he does good this race, takes it home for us. And he's already won this season. Almost went back-to-back. Maybe he wants redemption this race. Ooh, something happened. Oh, we have somebody up in the marbles. The 60 gets up in the marbles. Comes down in the 47 there. Saw him get up high as soon as I was talking about Hervaten. It's like Woods got down to him. It looks like that I gave Hervaten a little bit of damage. See on the chase. Yeah, he's got some right fender damage. Luckily, it's not really his spoiler, so he should be fine. I don't think that'll hurt him too much here. He's going to go past. Owens goes on the bottom. He's flying through the field, trying to get back up there now.
That 60 car, on the other hand, of Zachary Woods, definitely has suffered heavy right side damage. That's just cosmetic. I would assume that he has some engine damage from that, so the 60 may be out of this race. Oh, it was a caution though.
Looks like that may have been for. Oh, looks like Sabanowski has crashed and Bowen.
Oh, there's a 2-car, not pileup, but 2-car stoppage on the backstretch.
Looks like Bowen's already loose from here. We'll see what's happened. So Bowen's loose before everything gets in there. Maybe he got it. Looks like he got up in the marbles again. See what happens. Tries to go around. Oh, something happens. So the 47 hits the 69. So it's even happening in front of this. So it's like, I've had to say, Bowen's probably slowing down. Go slow motion with these drivers. So the 47 comes up the track into the 69 net codes because the car hops, goes into him. 69 goes sideways. Looks like the 52 takes evasive maneuvers. 47 just avoids getting rear-ended by the 88. 69 saves it.
That was an incredible save there.
Looks like,
I must say.
And then Bowen looks like he probably, he gets into the wall, scrapes it, goes back down the track. See if he hits anybody else. He's able to, just decides to loop it right up in the path of the 22 of Sabanowski. That's just nowhere for him to go. He just goes right back up into the track. Looks like it only 7 got net code, but looks like it might not be too bad for him. Looks like he might hit the wall though. Yeah, 7 locks it up.
7 locked it up and gave the wall just a little love tap. Just wanted to make sure it was still there. I think the 7 will most likely be fine. Not a lot of damage there.
Looks like we've got some drivers that decided to stay out. McKinney and Dalton and Dylan decided to stay out. Everybody else came down pit road, probably using a fast repair, maybe taking tires and fuel. Really just depends what they want to do early on. Some drivers might fix their optional damage that they have. If it's not too much, I'm a driver that's really picky. If I have any optional damage, I might come down. First caution, get it all dealt with because it just kind of annoys me, and it's not bad to get it fixed early on in the race, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. really early on in the race. I'm thinking maybe those guys that stayed out are waiting for a caution. Maybe thinking cautions breed cautions here.
I believe they have
And they
three sets of tires, so they can't burn through them here.
maybe something like that is also coming into play. You know, as we just saw, that wreck, you know, could have arguably been caused by some older tires. Because another thing with Atlanta is the track is still Atlanta. It's still rough. It's really hard on tires, is what I've learned. You know, compared to Daytona or Talladega, where you could probably go about 2 fuel runs before you really start to feel your tires. Atlanta, probably about halfway through a fuel run, you'll probably have to start backing up your corners a little bit, and that's what makes Atlanta, in my opinion, a really interesting super speedway for these drivers.
Yeah, but I'll actually continue that tire conversation after we go and roll this ad here for y'all. Yeah, well, we got to go back green here. Now they're going to come to green here. It's going to be McKinney. He's going to be leading that top lane. Hervatin on the bottom, so no EOL for Hervatin. Maybe, well, he didn't really cause that wreck, but it kind of caused everybody to check up. Hervatin's going to have the 9 of Lawrence on his bumper. McKinney's going to have his teammate and Roos behind him, both from Freedom Motorsports. Looks like lights were out, but came back on the pace car. So interesting, but no, going back to what you said before we went on break, when these tires start to wear, getting into the corner, your car kind of just wants to, slowly wash up to the wall just because they're a little bit wore. And I think that's what might have happened to Hervatin getting into the 69 a little bit. Not really of his doing. It's just the grip is just not there like it was before for him.
Yeah, that's what I've always felt is, I personally haven't ran the Gen 6 cars at Atlanta, but if they drive like the next gen cars, and that's exactly what would happen with the next gen cars and the truck, it seems, is that once the tires get worn, your car just loves to float towards that outside line, which obviously in the long run, if you're running side by side, can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's one thing that I do remember also, as you said, just kind of just carries. The car just carries, and like you're not really doing anything. You have to put a little bit more wheel into it. Just kind of be a little bit more precise with your inputs. Already be turning before you enter the corner. No harm, no foul. And what Hervatin did, it was just kind of what happened after that. But those two drivers that were involved did take their fast repairs. One of them didn't even have a front end, so he pretty much had no choice. But this is kind of a blessing in disguise for Tate. He was way off the pace behind all those cars. They'll go green, I believe, this time by finally. I don't know what that other caution was for. Maybe just drivers catching up to the back of the pack. Mike decided to throw it. Who is our race control for today?
Yeah, no, sometimes iRacing will delay the green if there's cars that are going slower stopped, just so that they can catch up and there's not a bunch of little packs from the restart. But does not matter as we're about to take the green flag here.
Hervatin's on the bottom. Kenny's on the top. Dalton gets a way bigger jump, but these two drivers up here did not pit. So they're kind of the odd ones out on fuel. I'm not exactly sure what the fuel load is for this race or what their fuel mileage looks. It's going to be interesting to see how long can Dalton and Dylan stay out with their fuel, and they're going to have to come down together. That's the only option they're going to have. But Roos is a teammate to McKinney, so he's probably going to push him as long as he can and stretch his fuel as long as possible. Lawrence, he's a teammate of them also, but everybody's lined up on that top lane, not giving Dylan any help at all. He's kind of the lone man out right now. We finally have somebody. Looks like that might be the 17 of James Silver. He's coming on the bottom to the help of Dylan Hervatin. You see the 77 of Tyler Evans also on the bottom lane. But I don't know. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out for Dylan because he decided not to come down pit road. Maybe want to save a set of tires. I would have at least taken fuel if I was him. Looks like most drivers though may have taken fuel when they came down pit road. Looking at their pit time here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys will probably go out and save a tire set for the end of the race. You also have to remember that it is quite early on in the race. Only lap 27 out of 165. It is a very long race, and a lot of these drivers probably view taking a set of tires as putting yourself at a disadvantage in the long run.
And I'm not. If this is anything like old Atlanta, I believe you mentioned it earlier too. Old Atlanta would just chew up tires, but I'm not sure how it acts with the repave here. It might be a little bit less tolling on those tires for these drivers. So they could probably afford to do it maybe, but Wheeler trying to get under McKinney. He's got the 34 of Lawrence trying to give him a shove, followed by the 88 of Noah Owens. You see him lurking back there. He's got the 98 of Burridge. McKinney has his teammate in Roos and Lawrence, so two teammates in Freedom Motorsports, and they have the odd car of Ryland, the Canadian, back there kind of lurking. You see Dylan, he's gotten back up in this, held on to this draft. Looks like we've kind of gotten two packs that have broken out now. One's led by the 77, and the other's led by the 6. Drivers maybe deciding, I don't want to be up there exactly up front with these guys. I'm fine running back here. Now, I wouldn't blame them because it's so draft heavy. If you wanted to get lined up real quick, you can really make your way up front, and Speeds goes under the 7 of Justin Ray, shoots right under him, gets that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. With that second group, I know another thing too is the pit road undercut does still exist here. Just like Daytona and Talladega, if that second pack pits, a lap or two before the front pack and gets lined up and gets off pit road good and organized, they will pass that lead pack coming off when that front pack has to make their stop.
Now, one thing I'm starting to notice with these drivers, and I believe it's kind of hurting them, is you can see every now and then they're trying to get as low as they can on the track, and they're clipping the apron. And when you clip the apron, that slows you down ever so slightly. You wouldn't think 1 to 2 miles an hour makes a huge difference, but when it comes to super speedways, it does. And I saw Wheeler do that a little bit early, just barely clipped it. You see how much time he's already lost these guys up front.
Yeah, another thing too is when that guy on the inside hits the apron, it checks up the whole inside line, giving that outside run a big boost essentially, because now the front of the outside line is not getting side drafted.
He's trying to fight on that bottom, just not working for him. Hervaten's still up there. You see Tate he's down 11 positions from where he started, just deciding to really ride it out. Doesn't want to be up there. But look at Zach Woods. Zach decided not to take his fast repair, and he's definitely struggling. He is 7 seconds behind the pack. No one is around him, so he'll probably easily go a lap down here very quick when these guys catch him.
He's obviously hoping for a yellow here. Maybe saving that fast repair. Maybe he thought he was going to be up to speed and didn't want to use his fast repair, then get caught up in another accident. But, I mean, now the odds of him getting caught up in an accident are virtually none, considering how far back he is.
And the one thing that he does have working in his favor, though, is if he does go a lap down and a caution comes out, he's the only car a lap down, so he would get the lucky dog. So that might be what he's hoping, is when they get around him, he can just hold on, kind of latch on to one of the cars that he can catch and just hold on to the draft ever so slightly so he won't go too far back from him and go 2 laps down. Because if he goes 2 laps down, then that's going to be extremely, extremely hard for them to make up.
2 laps down this early is almost a race-ending problem right there. I have seen drivers come back from 2 laps down before on super speedways, but I don't know if that would be something they could do with how organized and caution-free this race seems to be going.
Yeah, man, it's always going to be hard for those drivers to do that. And I mean, I've saw people come laps down, but it is just incredibly difficult to make up those laps here. But Tate made his way back through the field. He was a season champion last year. Came in a little bit later than me, actually. Just won so many races. But I talked to him, with the fast repair being taken away at some tracks, he has to drive a little bit different than what he would drive, normally, because he was a little bit aggressive, had gotten into some incidents early in the season. But he won at Michigan without having any problems. But some drivers have had to change. That's going to change here. Ghost Cup Series. It kind of gets rid of the people that wreck out early in the race. But it's not gone. Oh, I'm not even going to say that because that'd be a broadcaster's curse. Like Roos has jumped down bottom lane. Drivers kind of getting into more of a pack now. That bottom lane starting to gain people. They're going to start to fight. Roos is leading it. He's lost touch with his teammate and Lawrence and McKinney. Not working for him exactly, but when is the 47 and the 46 going to have to come down pit road? That's the big question here.
I'm not too sure on the fuel window, but I can't imagine that they're gonna be able to go much longer this far into a run.
You know, Hervaten doing this, running behind these cars is going to stretch it, but it won't stretch it as much as he probably hopes it will. He's going to have to be hoping for a caution, hoping that something would happen to let him get back on the same pit cycle as these drivers in front of him. We might see a move. Will the 46, 9, and 14, will they all come down as a team when they have a chance, or will they just stay in order? That's what's going to be a big question here for these drivers, because they're going to be low on fuel. The 46 and the 47 will very soon. I could maybe expect them to go to lap 45, 50, if that, because that's really taking a swing at the fuel, because it's set off a fuel percentage. Certain tracks burn more fuel than others, so it's really just a guessing game here so far.
Absolutely. It's always hard to tell how much fuel people are going to be able to stretch. You know, 1 or 2 laps can make a big difference here, and it's pretty easy to save 1 or 2 laps of fuel, or even lose 2 laps of fuel.
We were talking, you saw Roos got up in the marbles into the wall, just kind of scraped his right side. Doesn't seem like it hurt him too much, just trying to get back behind somebody in the draft. He doesn't look like he has too heavy of right side damage. Just kind of got up a little bit too high on the track. He should be perfectly fine, though. He should be able to tuck in behind Matthew Rodriguez just in front of him. But he's lost. He went from running up front to back to 17th, so he lost a lot of positions. But I've noticed that Kyle Gardner, he hasn't moved from the back at all. He's been very content with just running behind everybody this race. That's kind of odd from him here.
Yeah, maybe he just, you know, wanted to try something different this race. I know that's what I know me personally, I used to always be the guy who wanted to be up front of super speedways, but as time's gone on, I've figured, you know what, sitting in the back is a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about everyone around you wrecking. You don't have to worry about strategy as much. It's just a lot easier of a race, and everyone else will just take themselves out, and eventually you'll be able to move up the pack.
Yeah, super speedways always just major crashes, it seemed, but no, Talladega is known for the big one. Atlanta is not really known. They don't really have a name for their wrecks, but they've had some huge wrecks coming to the line. I remember Byron, race that he won, huge wrecks coming to it. This year was been a kind of a wreck fest too. Drivers, I mean, as we talk about that, Spieth into the 6. They're wrecking now. Hard contact for some of these drivers. Yellow is going to come out. Just as we were talking about wrecks, there's one that happens here. See what happened.
7 of Justin Ray is in the wall pretty hard there.
So looking at it from here, it looks like Wheeler comes down into Spieth. See who gets into it. Tate takes evasive maneuvers, just shoots down right to the bottom. 88 has been head first to some of these incidents and able to get away from it. Spieth goes down, clips Tom Bourne. Tom almost flips. Takes the front end off of Spieth. I have to see who else got involved in this wreck here, because I know some drivers had some hard contact. It's like
the 36 there, the 6. Yeah, as the 36 just goes down and just clips the 16 there. There's absolutely nowhere for Tom to go there.
And 16 goes back up into track, or up in the track in the path of Modespaw. Modespaw probably didn't expect it. Tom probably had him locked down, and he just slid that far. But all the drivers, now they've came down pit road. Looks like Wheeler got away with less damage than almost everybody. Looks like his car is pretty much fine, but this is kind of a blessing in disguise for Dalton McKinney and Dylan. They needed this caution to happen because they were the odd ones on fuel. Lawrence going to win it off. Maybe it looks like they're going to be taking tires. Don't blame them at all for taking that. But they're going to be back in the pack now, not in a spot that they were in early. Like some drivers will be taking the optional that they can. I believe Wheeler's taking his optional. Might as well fix it when he's in here. Wood's still going to hold on to his fast repair here. Probably fix all the optional that he can. I don't know if he can fix most of that. He probably he may could fix a good amount of it. Spoilers bent. You see it pop right there. Just a little bit of a damage model change. We'll go from the rear chase. He's got some right side damage. So he's got some damage that's going to be hindering him in the draft. But we'll bring in the 34 of Robert Lawrence here real quick. Hey, Robert, this is Bryson Gavin in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Maybe.
Man, so you've been running, you know, kind of mid-pack up front, but how's the race gone for you so far, man?
It's been nuts. Yeah, I was doing pretty well that first little before that first caution. Led some laps, kind of fell back just a little bit, but still top 10. And then accidentally took my first set of tires after that first pit, and then so that shuffled me back to about 12th. Drove myself back up to second. Was really gunning for that for the first right before the caution came out, but now we're sitting back in first. Slightly used tires compared to the guys behind us, but hopefully we can hold them off. That high line seems to be the king at the moment, so we'll see if it changes at all tonight.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll give you good luck. I'll let you go here. Hope to see you in victory lane, though.
Yep, thank you.
I'll make sure that he gets his right position in the Discord, because sometimes it wants to, you know, spit drivers out for some reason. I've noticed that here, but he's in there safely. But he has a little bit older tires than some of these drivers. Some drivers had to use their fast repair. They had no other option. Modespot looks like he's trying to drop to the bottom. Bourne is in pit road, taking all. He takes his fast repair finally. Waited to take it for a while though, but he's going to be probably going a lap down, I'd say. Modespot is a lap down also, so I did not expect that.
Yeah, that one car had some pretty heavy damage. I'm wondering if maybe he didn't make it back around to pit road in time without losing a lap, but I believe he's the only one a lap down still running since the 16, sustained some heavy damage there. As we're coming to the green this time.
Got some new faces. We got Lawrence and Tate up here. Tate was in the back of the pack. He's got a teammate in Lawrence behind him. It's going to be Lawrence and Lawrence. No, I think those drivers are the same, but they're not. Looks like there might be a little bit of a lane off. Tate and McKinney will maybe not work together. McKinney was thinking about it. These two or three Freedom Motorsports drivers, if they get lined up, they can work together and leave Lawrence in a weird position here, because Lawrence has gotten out there pretty far, and this is actually a bad idea to be doing. As Lawrence, he's going to go to the bumper of Tate. 69 is coming to the bumper of McKinney to shove him. See Gartner, he's finally moved up in the pack now.
That 34 got way too far out on that start there, and he got really impacted by that. As you can see, he's already been shuffled back, and he has no help on the inside line there. As he's going to move up and behind them.
So it looks like Dylan is in a crash. See, he goes, wow, let's see what happens. See what's what in the... So it looks like what happens here is, you know, there's some certain walls in iRacing, and if you clip them, it will just make your car stop. But the 22 hits the wall, basically makes him stop in front of Dylan.
Oh, wow, that's heavy damage for both of them right there.
And Dylan, sideways, trying to drive out of it, actually does. Look, he overcorrects it. Wally Babb has nowhere to go. Dylan decides to lock it down at that point. Backs and hits it right side pretty flush. For him, it says Sabanowski's crashed, but he obviously has. Well, he might have crashed in that, but just an odd incident there. There's just certain things in iRacing. He just hit a part of the wall where it basically just made him come to a complete stop in front of Hervaten. I don't think Hervaten expected that one bit there.
That 47 was stuck in a really bad position because, first of all, he probably didn't expect him to hit the wall. And even when he did hit the wall, you know, I didn't expect him to slow down that much. As he, you know, just with that one little tap, shredded about like 10 miles an hour of speed essentially instantly. So definitely unfortunate for both of them there.
Looks like Hervaten's damage isn't too bad though. I believe he might come down, top off on fuel, maybe burn a set of tires, might have to, but he'll fix his optional, I'd say, because he hit it pretty flush with the right side. Luckily, he's very lucky with the damage that he got.
And if I remember these Gen 6 cars correctly, you know, the having rear damage doesn't really affect them compared to, say, the next gen cars with the new damage model.
Yeah,
but
that can kind of go both ways. If your spoiler's bent with some of these cars, it'll definitely affect you, but I don't think he has too bad of damage for that at all. We'll see how long he sits in his pit box. He's been in there for 12, so it looks like he's going to be taking fuel only, fixing the optional. But, you know, really nothing of Hervaten's fault there. I mean, he had nowhere to go, and even if I was him, I wouldn't expect a car to come to a complete stop there, just right in front of him out of nowhere. He's still sitting on pit road. This is kind of a blessing in disguise for Kenny and Bourne. I believe they both might get. Bourne might not get a wave around. No, he will. Well, you know, he's the only car a lap down, so he should get a lap back here.
The Tom Bourne will not get his lap back because I believe it was the one who got his lap back already. I believe
yeah.
the one was the lucky dog at the time of caution.
Right, Modespa was a lap down, but we'll go on a quick commercial break here. We're back here at Atlanta. Tate's got the lead, followed by the 88 of Noah Owens, the 9 of, sorry, I keep on wanting to say Christopher Hubka. Christopher Lawrence is on the outside. He's going to have Robert Lawrence on his bumper, both spelled differently. So, no, it's not the same spelling, but you got to say them the name the same way. Kind of odd for me. Have to really drill that into my mind. But looks like Hervaten fixed his optional that he could take. No, he really had nowhere to go on that last caution. 22 of Sabanasi is going to be late coming out of pit road. So he's going to be kind of a straggler. Maybe if he can't catch up in time, it's going to be really hurtful to him.
As the green won't be delayed this time, as Christopher Tate will lead us to the green flag here.
Tate. He's got the 88, so the 88 is a Ford, so he'll be able to shove him when he gets the green flag here if he wants to lay back a little bit. Saw Robert Lawrence get out way too far when he definitely shouldn't have been doing that, but green flag's in the air. Tate gets farther out than what he probably needs to be. He's got to be very careful with doing that.
It seems as the 54 almost made the exact same mistake there.
Looks like he might have. You can see McKinney, his teammates, trying to get under the 88. Lawrence is trying to fight McKinney. These two need to probably sort it out. Their teammates, man, just work together. It's not a bad idea to be doing that here. 54 of Tate out front. That's 88's got a huge run. Tate's going to try. Ooh, 88 gets really close in that quarter panel, but Lawrence is lined up. Robert Lawrence and Christopher Lawrence have lined up. They've kind of left their teammate McKinney, a straggler back there. They go through the pack. Looks like Woods, he's fixed all his optional that he can. So looks like he got the cautions that he needs. He looks like he's got a car that's pretty much the same. Maybe a little bit of front end damage. Lips not down completely, but if he can hold on to the draft, it shouldn't hurt him too bad here. The 47, though, he's far back. So is a 1. These drivers are not where they need to be. Hervaten maybe should have taken his faster pair when he had the chance, but decided against it.
Here comes the 46 trying to make something work on the inside here. There's no help. And he still seems to be making up some time here, as I believe that is the 52 behind him. Wow, is that inside line formed up pretty quick there?
They kind of got out of nowhere, and there's a big gap to, compared to these lanes, there's a huge gap. You see the middle lane, then there's another middle lane led by Roos. They need to get together and catch each other because maybe McKinney can start mounting something as they're not past halfway just yet. Got about 30 more laps till they are. Tate's got to be careful coming off that bottom and running a little bit wide like he is. If he does that, that'll give Lawrence an option to just get there. I saw a lot of drivers just barely hook each other. We have drivers back down pit road, the 1 and the 47. The 47 might take his faster pair here. He'll go a lap down very quickly. So rough for these drivers, hoping for more cautions. Hervaten said earlier that he wanted to see the drivers and just kind of deal with everybody and wreck each other out.
A bit of an incident in the back there. Oh, as it's resulted in a spin there, as everyone's taking evasive action.
See, let's
'Cause that's
actually.
good. Wow,
Oh,
good 300 IQ move there by Dylan Hervatin to come
kind of
down
a
pit road.
gift. Kind of a gift for him. We'll see what happens. So Wheeler looks like he goes to the inside of Roos and the 17 of James Silver. And the 71 just comes up and clips Chris Wheeler, sends him sideways right in front of him. See if
Yeah,
Chris
it's
is
the
able to save
14
it.
there. Yeah, seizes the 14, hit the wall there, and kind of got everyone out of shape. And then someone, I believe that is the 71, seemed to move up a lane and accidentally clip the 52. Or sorry, yeah, the 71 moved up a lane there and just seemed to accidentally clip. I believe that is the 6.
Yeah, Wheeler did a good job not fully spinning it. He kept off the wall. That's what you really want to look at there. You see just kind of just right around on the bumper from the 77, sends him spinning. Luckily, it was back in the pack, but this was a gift for Dylan for sure. He wanted to see this caution come out. He only spent 6 seconds on pit road, so it might have just been fixing the option like he can. We're going to have drivers come back down. See, I believe, yep, Dylan should get his lap back here that he has lost. See, it's the
Yeah,
first.
he came out right behind the leaders there, so I don't see a reason that he shouldn't.
Sometimes timing works in your favor, but it looks like everybody has came down pit road. Woods doesn't have a front end. I'm not sure when that has happened for him. Woods is just having a rough night.
Woods, I believe, was caught in that stack up there in the corner.
Your driver's probably taking their optional. Roos will probably take the optional that he can. Would not be a bad choice for him. I'll bring in Christopher Tate here from Freedom Motorsports. Gotta drag him all the way down through these mini rooms here. Hey, Chris, this is Bryson Gavin in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
Man, so you ran in the back early on, and then you kind of made your way back up front, but how's the race gone for you so far?
It's been all right. Just have to be patient. You really heat up the tires, and it's really hard to kind of hold the line in the corners. So you got to really watch for the push coming off the corners, and it's really just all about managing the drive. So what I'm really trying to do right now, just see how long I can hold this lead.
You know, man, it's like, is there like a certain strategy that, you would run here at Atlanta knowing that it's a new configuration, or is it kind of you have to make one up as you go here?
It's mainly just making it up as I go. I haven't really ran here that much, so it's still pretty new to me, and I'm sure it's probably new to all of us, but it's just one of those things. You gotta kind of assess where you're going and make your decisions then.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting, but you've got your teammate up here, so hopefully you'll work with him, but no, hope to see you in victory lane tonight, though, bud.
All right, appreciate it.
That was Christopher Tate. He was last season's champion here in the Ghost Cup Series. I believe he had multiple wins, a lot of wins here. He's up front. He's got his teammate in Lawrence behind him. To his outside. And he's got the 34 of Lawrence. That's Robert Lawrence. He's got McKinney. That's a teammate of him also. So maybe these Freedom Motorsports guys can get together. Servatin. Looks like he may have came back down pit road. He should have gotten a wave around, I believe, though.
Unless he was not the wave around at the time of caution and it was someone else that we just missed.
That may have been a possibility because it should have been Hervatin.
I am seeing that Tom Bourne is back to being one lap down, so I believe it may have been him. I know iRacing scoring loops are pretty weird with how they score cars, especially lap down cars, so who knows?
Yeah, sometimes iRacing does make some weird decisions, but Mike would catch that. But it looks like Mike doesn't give Hervatin a wave around, which Hervatin just going to have to hope that he can maybe get around Bourne, stay in front of him, and a caution comes out here. Pace car pulls off. They're going to go green here again. Going to be Tate. Fires off. Their fire off is going to be from him. Lawrence will be to his outside. Maybe he'll realize I can't get as far out as I did earlier, as we saw him do that earlier, and he got really far out, and that was people were able to mount a run on him like it was nothing at that point.
He seems to be doing the same thing here. The 34 is going to have a pretty good toe on him. As the 34 is now going to move up a line here with the 9, and they're going to have a big run on him coming down the backstretch here.
Maybe that's two of Tate's teammates pushing the 34 of Robert Lawrence. They're going to go down to the bottom. Lawrence is going to try to get around Tate, slide up in front of him. He's going to be clear now in front of him. Tate's going to go right back down to the bottom. Trying to take the lead right back from when he just lost it. He's going to have to hope that Tua Bowen can get to his bumper, give him a shove. But he's not there just yet. He's going to have to wait just a little bit longer to get the shove by that he needs from him. As we've got a pretty even number of cars in both lanes so far. Not a huge group that has a lot. See, Woods. Gosh, Woods has a war machine so far. That thing is beat up, parts replaced on it. I don't know how it's still running, but he's still staying in the race here somehow.
That's what you got to do with these plate races. You know, with how many people wreck out in DNF, if you can even limp your car across the start-finish line, you're still most likely in for a good points day.
As they're kind of battling up here up front, the middle lanes getting a run. Robert Lawrence is trying to work both of them at the same time. He's got to be careful doing that because if he comes down a little bit late, he'll get turned right in front of all these guys. As Christopher Lawrence, he's giving him a shove through the corner. Robert Lawrence is running a little bit higher. Might want to be a little bit careful with that. You know, we heard Tate say earlier, when the tires get heated up, it's a little bit harder to keep grip. You kind of wash up, but that's what we talked about earlier too, that drivers start to wash up into the tracks. It's going to be something to watch. Maybe drivers are going to start washing up. Maybe they're going to be already prepared for it when they get into the corner so they don't wash up as bad as they did before. It's like the middle lane's kind of broken apart now with these guys. Christopher's been following Robert so far. McKinney's with him also. That's two teammates following each other. Tate's falling behind on the bottom lane. You see Matthew Rodriguez and Robert Kinney on that top lane. Kind of the last car is on it. We got somebody around. I heard somebody's tires screeching. Yellow flag. We went by. I heard somebody's tires going somewhere. Looks like Hervaten again. That's a netcode issue. That's what that looks like. That does not look like that was his issue there, but that takes his front end off. If he's used his fast repair, his night is over.
Seems the one car is also involved. I know he used his fast repair, so he's most likely done for the evening.
Have to see. So comes down into the 16, makes his car hop, comes down into Tom Born. So Dylan Hervaten's not had the race that he's wanted so far for him, but that's just hard. He won 2 weeks ago, and this race just not gone the way that he wanted to. Kind of overcorrects, doesn't have him locked down, goes right into the wall, takes his front end off. But I believe he may have used his fast repair, so that may be the end of the night for Hervaten. Clips the one when he comes back down on the track. Hervaten's still under power, so he can make it back to pit road. We'll have to see if he has a fast repair left.
Was the one also the one that was a heavy impact into the outside wall for the one?
Like he may be crab walking. I saw him go down pit road. Yeah, he is crab walking. You can see the back end of his car is kicked out, so he's had a rough night also. It's going to be a lot of damage to fix for him. He might just try to tough it out here, stay out for as long as he can. But we've got a split decision coming down pit road. Some drivers staying out, some drivers coming.
Yeah, it really just depends on what you think they'll, you know, the figure of this race is. You know, if you think there's going to be a lot of cautions and cautions will bring cautions, I mean, the up front has been the place to be. It's been really clean up front. There hasn't been a lot of accidents. All the accidents have happened at the tail end of the first pack.
Yeah, it's not really even aggressive driving. It's just these small mistakes from these drivers here. We'll see if Dylan Hervaten has a fast repair. I don't believe he does, so he's gonna have to get his front end replaced. So might most likely take him out of contention here. So just rough night for him in general. It's not the way it's gone that he's wanted so far.
Yep, definitely not a good night for him. But like I said earlier, you never know with these races and all the accidents that go on. You could still probably salvage a decent points finish if you just keep your head in the game.
Yeah, Dylan's lucky that he has that win in the bag, so he can afford a little bit of a points hit here. He is leading the points, so it's not gonna affect him too heavily. Luckily for him, but it's just kind of heartbreaking for him. He's my driver, so even a little bit more heartbreaking for me seeing him having to sit in pit road. He comes out pit road, he still doesn't have a front end, probably just fixing the optional that he can. He'll just have to hope for cautions at this point and be able to fix the optional that he's able to. They're going to be running about a minute and a half laps. So that'll give him a chance to get a lot of the optional that he has done on his car. But I just don't think it'll be enough for him.
As time will tell for him.
We got some new faces up here. The 17, the 77, the 71, the 7. Looks like that's a 3-car. All running the same paint scheme, so that's kind of interesting to see there from those drivers. It's Evans, Scroggins, and I believe Justin Ray, all same paint scheme. So obviously these guys are on a team, so maybe they'll get together, form together, and start drafting with each other. That'll just be something that we'll have to see eventually. Looks like Mike Taylor's hopped in with Dylan Hervot, so maybe something's being said to him about one of the incidents, maybe. And we're going to be interested to see what conversation goes on between those two. I don't know what's going on. I have my race chat muted.
I mean, I personally didn't hear anything that was said, but I can imagine that he's probably not very happy with what's going on. I believe he might have been assessed a penalty, and he might be arguing the penalty there. As I, not too sure that was his fault. That seemed like a bit of a iRacing netcode incident, but we will see here as they come back to the green flag.
Lawrence got McKinney on his bumper. Christopher Lawrence, he doesn't have anybody near him, but these two are teammates. So Lawrence gets out far again. We see drivers. They keep getting a good restart, but they realize I really shouldn't be out this far because drivers are going to be able to mount a huge run on you now. As McKinney's going to be on Christopher Lawrence's bumper. They'll be able to give him a shove whenever he gets to it. Maybe they can just blow right by Robert Lawrence. See what Christopher does. He decides to stay behind Robert. So not wanting to pass him just yet. Deciding to race pretty clean. The 17, you not saw him up here at all. And also the 98 of Chris, he's not been up front. So new faces starting to show a little bit. Later in the races, they're getting close to halfway. I believe we'll have about 13 more laps, excuse me, until they get to halfway pretty much. Tate, he's making his way back to the field also. Drivers probably realizing I don't want to be up there right now. I just kind of want to be riding back in the pack. Is somehow Dylan's been able to stay with the draft, it seems, with no front end. He's just got to hope that he can stay tucked in with these guys for as long as he can, because if he doesn't and he loses a draft, he's going to go dropping like a rock very quickly.
Yeah, that's the one thing with these cars is sometimes if you have, major body damage but your engine's still up to power, you're able to hold on, but the problem is you just have to have someone that's willing to push you and keep you in the pack, and sometimes that's hard to find, but if you have your teammate behind you, then you should be good to stay linked in that pack. As we are mostly single file here, as I think everyone's kind of simmered down a little. There's not a lot of racing going on, especially up front.
Oh, as we say that,
lied.
Ray, I saw Wheeler and Ray get into it. There's a lot of people that just flew through all this. So we'll see what happens here. Looks like the 88, as I'm seeing it right now, looks like the 7 kind of gets squeezed in the middle. Will go from a chase on his point of view. See where the contact happens between these two. He gets put 3 wide. 98 comes up into the 7, net codes him. The 7's probably going to overcorrect here up into everybody else. Just hard. Oh gosh, yeah, he definitely overcorrects that. Hits Wheeler. 7 backs it in, smashes his and then Wally Babb, see if he gets involved. Roos runs right into the back of Wally. Roos gets into it also. 57 of Rodriguez, you see him locking it down. Just some drivers, just Hervot spins. Let's see if he gets any damage or any more damage than he has. He just barely misses that pit wall. Maybe he hits the one in the grass. He does. So even more damage from him. Takes his tires off the ground. So hard contact for Hervot, who already has a lot of damage. Just 3 wide. Just didn't work out. Not as wide as some other tracks are, but just other drivers getting caught up in somebody else's accident so far.
Yes, that's definitely unfortunate for Hervot.
We're going to come down pit road. Kind of a split decision with some of these drivers. 49, 69, 10. Beasts are all going to stay out as they came back down on lap 64. Noah, Tate, and Woods also did. Woods, I'm surprised he's up here where he is. He's got just heavy front end damage. He's up here in 4th, though. You can see the damage that he has. It's pretty bad, though, on his car. Hervotten's going to come down pit road, probably fix. It's optional, but while they are doing pit stops, we will roll a quick ad here. you're back live here at Atlanta. Tate looks like he might have more VR issues as he's just slow on the bottom of the track. He's actually came to a complete stop. So if I had to guess, he's having some VR issues. Here is he's one of the people that runs it. I don't know if that will bring out a caution because he did pull off on the track, but it's probably died on him. Reese is back down pit road. Hervaten's sitting in pit road. He probably has to take a lot of optional damage that he has so far, as he's not had the night that he has wanted at all. But new faces up here. The 88 of Noah Owens, the 46 of Dalton McKinney, the 60 of Woods, who is just a war machine, just beat up everywhere. You see the 69 of Rylan Fontenato behind McKinney. They should be going green this time by. I believe Tate still doesn't have his VR issue fixed as he's trying to roll now. So he's probably going to go a lap down here. Green flag will go back in the air. It's going to be off of McKinney. Drivers maybe spinning their tires just a little bit on the start. You see the back end kick out on him a little bit, maybe having to pedal it. 88 is going to jump down right behind McKinney.
I really hope that the 54s come to a stop. I really hope he doesn't bring out a caution here.
I believe Tate he's had a lot of issues with his VR where it just does not want to work. I think he might have finally got it fixed as he's back rolling, but he's going to go a lap down, so Tate's going to have a lot of stuff to work back with. The 88 is going to go to the inside of McKinney now. So the drivers that, you might have chose to pick, they're out, pretty much out of the race. Don't have a chance anymore as the 17's looking on the inside of the 88 of Owens for just a little bit. Thinks about it, decides not to. Drivers might just start running just one lane, not getting into anybody. It's like Roos. He somehow stayed in the race. The 99 of Wally Babb. And Roos did hit his rear end pretty hard, but it's like Wally don't really need a bumper cover. His spoiler is still pretty much straight. Didn't give him any engine damage, so it probably didn't hurt him too terribly bad for this.
Yeah, that's the big thing on these cars is definitely once you get engine damage, your day is basically over, especially on these plate tracks.
Yeah, you don't really need them for. You can get away with it on some short tracks a little bit, but when it comes to these big ovals and these big draft heavy tracks, any engine damage is going to be a damper on your car for the whole race. It's going to really, really slow you down. Got Dylan in here actually, maybe in the infield care center. So bring in Dylan here real quick. Hey Dylan, this is Gavin and Bryson's booth. You got a copy, man? Oh, heard you there for half a second.
Oh,
but,
you got me?
Yeah, man. So what happened, man? You got just not the night that you wanted, but can you sum up what happened to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in pretty much every situation I could get myself in. Really not a good night. Kind of disappointed. It just kind of sucks. I got to the 69. That was my first incident. I apologize to him. Car just got real tight after about 25 laps or so on the tires, and then after that everything went downhill. I followed the 22 into the wall, and then I wasn't aware we were 3 wide, but I believe the 16 could have given me a little more room on the top to be able to maneuver around, but I understand if people see it differently than that. But the 47 Ghost Racing Mustang was very good. It just sucks that we're not going to get the spot we want, but there's always next week.
Yeah, man, super speedway is always rough, and you can't. Some of it you can't really control. Me being your owner, I ain't mad about that at all because I know you're a good driver. So hopefully you can go and get them next week. Because I know you can drive, but just tough overall for you. And you were probably going to try to. I know you were kind of happy going here, but just tough overall. But that's how super speedway racing goes, man. It's just something you can't control most of the time.
Yeah, it's just car was really tight to drive in traffic, and it made it difficult. I mean, if you made one wrong move, it was another car or the wall. So you were always on your toes like every lap, and it was difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I don't usually put myself out there like that, but yeah, I'm not really happy with the way it went. But like I said, there's always next week. So.
Yeah, and actually, I'll bring up that 22. That 22, when he hit the wall, it looks like he kind of almost came to a complete stop for half a second. I mean, you really couldn't go anywhere because he kind of hit the hit the part of the wall where it just made his car literally stop, and then it went again. So even I don't think you could have avoided that, and that was none of your doing at that point.
Yeah, it was a difficult situation. I mean, I was either gonna run into him or spin him, or run myself into the wall and spin myself out. And I'm not really one that wants to put other people in a bad situation. You know, even though you can't always help that. But yeah, just really unfortunate turn of events. But there's always next week, so.
Yeah, man. Well, tough race for you, but go get him next week, man.
Oh, always. I got the best team driving for the best team and the best car. We'll get another one. They'll come to us.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I'll let you go here then.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
You've got somebody else in the waiting room. That's not the right one. They've gone into the Cup. That's Paul. I don't know why I believe that's a Xfinity Series driver. But you know, Dylan had a rough race. Very rough race. But these guys up front have been pretty clean so far. Not really making any moves. As to say that, you see the 69 goes up, almost clips the wall. They kind of calmed down now. A little bit past halfway at this point for the race. Now, what have you saw so far, Gavin?
Throughout the whole race, you know, it's been, like I said, the front, you know, the first half of the race seemed to be really, everyone was on top of each other. There was always a race for the lead. But now that it's later in the race, people, you know, have calmed down a little. Maybe the field has thinned out a little bit. People have used their faster pairs. We're noticing a lot more single file racing. And hopefully this isn't going to be like last time I said that, where there's an accident. But just going through the field here, we've separated into 2 packs as per plate racing tradition. I've noticed Tom Bourne is back on the lead lap. And both groups here are single file. So I think we're in for a good finish to this race, I believe. I'm interested to see what fuel strategy comes into play, and even stuff like tire strategy, since it's Atlanta. You have to worry about tires. You have to think about your tires. Obviously, we can't tell, but I'm really curious who has sets of tires left, who doesn't, stuff like that. So, we're shaping up to have a good end of the race here.
Yeah, man, it's gonna, and I'm not sure. I believe drivers are probably going to have to stop the remainder of the race. I don't think they'll be able to make it on one more pit stop. I mean, they could prove me completely wrong. Who knows? I think that they'll have to do 2 stops here to make it to the end. I believe some will be fuel only, some will be tires and fuel. It's just going to come down to what drivers do, and if there's any cautions, because cautions will change everybody's perspective on their pit strategy, and everything else can change in the matter of an instant here. So everybody, they pretty much calmed down so far. They've gone single file. They kind of have 2 packs right now. Looks like you've got the 10 of Kenny leading one, followed by Bourne. 77 of Evans is behind them. So they've gotten 2 packs between these 2 cars. About 2 seconds behind the 71 of Devin Scroggins. So just kind of hanging back with them. I don't blame them for doing that at all. The drivers cautions early a little bit, kind of all in a cluster. Then they've decided to, man, I just want to calm down now. I don't want to really be racing too hard. Still got more than half this race to go tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I believe well, I guess lap 90 we will be over halfway. Lap 90 will be halfway, am I right? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, interesting race so far, and I'm curious how it'll shape out here at the end.
One thing that I've noticed though is this pack up front isn't running the bottom of the track. They're actually running pretty high on that lane. You see they're going about a car length and a half. They're running that seam that you can see these drivers getting on. But they've got to be careful, because if they miss that seam on the track and you get in the marbles in that high line, that will send you straight into the wall, because you just lose grip out of nowhere. But they're still just wrapping the high line. They're not trying to go down to the bottom at all. As the 88, he's trying to get around the 69, or maybe the 34 he tried to get around. He gets around to whoever he was, hops right back into line for him. But pretty calm throughout the field. He's the 60s trucking on, the 57's trucking on also. It's damage for these drivers. See Roos is kind of straggler back here, and Gartner, I'm surprised Gartner's doing what he's doing. He's been towards the back the whole race. He's not been up front really at all. He's just been kind of there, I'd say. He's not been doing much. I'm kind of surprised that he's
There they go. Wrecking one.
Ooh, hard impact for 69. He gets killed by the 70. Right up into the path. So something had to happen behind the 77. Excuse me. That's who it was. So let's see what happened here. The 69, I believe. I think he might have gotten up in the marbles. Go to his view. Nope. Looks like it was... So the 88 of Owens is on the bottom of him, trying to get in. 88 comes up into the 69, netcodes him, puts him into the wall. Looks like Lawrence has nowhere to go. 69 comes back down. Lawrence clips him. 17 clips to 34. Kind of a stack up from there. 71 hits the 17. That puts the 71 sideways. 69 goes nose first into the wall. And then I believe the 77 of Evans. Yep, everybody's checking up, and Evans gets hit by Wally Babb, and he nails the 69 of Rylan. Flips Rylan on his side. So a hard impact for those drivers. It's hard contact for all of those guys involved. Just as we were talking about them calming down, they get Hancy again. It looks like those two cars had their fast repair. They saved it. They're going to use it here. Some guys will probably stay in, use the optional that they have. I would not blame him. Blame them. Take it right there. I believe I will.
Yeah, I'm just rewatching that again, and that was a lot of good wreck avoidance, and that honestly probably wouldn't have been a yellow until I believe it was the 77 got shoved out of the corner, and then that's what brought it out, as he was not able to hold on to it, and he hit the 69 and washed back up into the racing surface.
Yeah, as I will hop down here and deal with these people in Discord. So I will go on mute, but you will still be able to hear Gavin talk here. Gavin, I will go hop into his room really quick to talk to these guys because I think they're waiting in the wrong room. Hey, you all, I don't know if there was a broadcast today because there's a lot of broadcast issues.
That's what I figured. I looked on the YouTube. It's not there, so...
Yeah, it would have been...
I don't want to get penalized for not being here.
No, it would have been under SRM. They didn't have a broadcaster, so I think you all should be fine. If you all did leave and you got penalized, tell them that I told you that there was no broadcast, so they'll deal with that for me. But I don't think there was.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I saw like Chris posted the
You see guys like the 77 and the 54 will be your candidates for the lucky dog next time by. Or well, next caution, not next time by.
I had to deal with those guys. Just like they thought a broadcast was going on, but where SRM was a little bit late, they were kind of waiting in the room there. I had to tell them that it was fine. But one of the broadcasters ended up getting COVID. And Gavin's here because my throat was tired of being used all. That sounds weird. It was tired of being, having to talk all the time. So he joined me here tonight. So thank you for coming in here and giving me a little bit of a rest every now and then.
No worries. Thank you for having me. It's been a really good race to watch. Lots of action. I've definitely been on my toes, and I'm really curious and excited to see how this is going to end.
Yeah, and you see Woods. I have no idea how Woods is up where he is. Because if you look at the front of his car, I'll go on the chase, or probably rear chase. Look at how much damage he has on that. That thing is beaten and battered, but he's still trying to race with this. I'll give it props to him. Just still going as hard as he can, not giving up at all.
I mean, once you fix the damage on these cars, a lot of them will, go back to being somewhat decent condition. I'm more worried about his ability to push and his ability to keep his engine cool. But as you see off the start here, he seems to get a really good start as he's going to clear the 16, and it looks like he's going to have a run on the 9 for the lead here.
You see those, some drivers got a little bit. You saw them wiggle. It's because that tire spin. They're trying to put the power down. It's just not, as Woods is going to be shucked out to the outside. The 16 and the 10 follow each other through. Now, how is he going to be leading a pack? Because he's got that front end damage, so he may be dropping the anchor on the 88 and the 98. You got to be careful with it. Almost turns each other. I don't know if Woods is necessarily the best leader because just that damage. He's not going to be able to cut the air like he needs to. 46 almost comes up into Woods getting off the bottom. They're going to go 3 wide. The 57. It's not good for these drivers here. They need to sort it out real quick as they do. McKinney lifts, goes right behind Woods. Decides, man, I do not want to be in this position at all.
That was smart from the 46 as well, because now he's going to gain a spot on Matthew Rodriguez here and not really lose any other positions or much time. That's the thing, is if they kept battling there, they most likely would have lost time to that front pack, and now everyone's just really, now it all really hinders on this 60 car Zachary Woods.
Woods, I just don't think Woods can keep the pace that he needs. I mean, he's just got so much damage. We got some new faces. We got Tom Bourne and Kenny. Haven't seen them up front much, but drivers, they're all running that high line, all in a line. Not really want to run the bottom. Kenny's going to try to give it a shot. He's got nobody with them, though. 71 thought about it maybe. He's going to get under his teammate in Lawrence. So he's making it work. Or not necessarily side drafting, but just taking the shortest way around the track as a 71. Probably let him in. He's going to get behind his teammate in Christopher Lawrence. See where his other teammate is in Kyle Gartner. He is all the way back in 17th. He's not been up front the whole time. It's like, where is Tate at? So Tate, he is a lap down, so he's hoping for another caution. I believe he probably had some VR issues. It's the only thing I can think that would make sense for him.
Yes, I believe he had some VR issues, but now with him contending to get back on the lead lap here, I mean, competing with the 77, you know, it's still a long race. I know we just passed halfway, but we're still going to have about roughly, I think, 67, 68 laps. That's a very long time, especially if we keep getting cautions at the rate that we have been, which now that I've said that, we probably won't, as everyone's mostly single file, except for back there. You see the 34 and the 77. The 77 is obviously going to try and keep as much position, like as much track position as he can to continue that, or maintain his position of the lucky dog, but I see the 54 back there, and he is creeping up to that 77 to get his lap back.
He's just trying to get up there as they got in a little bit wild. Now the 98 can almost hook the 88 if he's not careful with what he's doing. But as soon as it calms down, they start to get wild again. 57's getting up in that gray area just a little bit, maybe slowing him down, having to yank the wheel. I've kind of noticed when you get up close to the wall, it's kind of like the wall just has like a little bit of glue. It wants to pull you towards it, so you have to put ever so slightly more wheel just to make sure that you don't hit it. He's really trying to get that high line. He's kind of running the Larson line is what they tend to call it there. Larson's not having the seasons that he's wanted, though. Hard crash it. Indy, but back to the sim racing, not real life, because we don't have the skill for that here. 88 of Noah Owens still trying to battle under Christopher Lawrence now. It looks like that bottom lane can get a run in the corner, but just can't get anything on the straight. That's when they really seem to lose it. The 98's looking under the 88 for half a second. Looks like we've kind of got two packs, though, that have been broken apart. You see the 17's leading this back one here with Spieth and Wheeler in it. Go back to Sabadowski. Sorry, Vernon Reese, he's kind of alone. He's going to lose the draft. Roos is leading this other pack back here. He's got his teammate Kyle Gartner shoving him. I think Kyle's taking the option of...
Oh, they're getting a little squirrely behind them. Sorry to cut you off, but I saw the 71 and the 54 almost get together, as the 54 is equal with the 77 for the lucky dog here.
Go back, quick replay to see what you were talking about here. So I was in the back of the pack at that moment. Have to see. So going into turn 3 and 4, what happens to Tate? Tate looks like he's... Let me get to Tate's view. So, 71 got tight under him. 71 actually went sideways for half a second. Good save from those drivers, though. Tate's really just trying to get his lap back at this point. That's what he wants. He doesn't really want to be a nuisance in anybody's way, but he wants to get it back. Would rather not get it under a lucky dog position. It's kind of be bad for him in general, but I was saying... looks like Kyle Gartner this whole race has taken the approach of, I don't want to be up front in all these accidents that are happening. I want to ride back here and just save my faster pair, save fuel, not be up with these guys up front. And that's not a bad strategy, but he's just not been a true competitor that I see most of the time. Because Kyle, he's a very consistent person when he races, but he's just not been up front at all, which he maybe wait, and he still does have 61 laps to make his way back up front, but he's got to do something pretty soon to get. Oh, as you say that, the 71. Oh, they're checking up. Tate's around.
Flex the 34s. He's going to wash back up in the field.
Oh, this Wheeler gets into it. See what happens here real quick. I think somebody checked up. So it looks like
There was quite a large checkup there, and I believe everyone... It was a bit of an accordion effect. I don't believe everyone had enough time to slow down.
what happens. Bowen is off the bottom. 77 goes to go under Bowen. Bowen comes back down onto him. 77 gets loose. Tate, net codes of 77. Tate's out of the throttle. Gets drilled by Robert Lawrence. Lawrence gets hit by the 98 over Burge. See if Tate has hard impact with the wall. See if Lawrence can able to squeeze by. Tate will probably hit him. They net code each other, actually. Lawrence hard into the wall, right back up into traffic. Nothing he can do. Has him locked up. Tate actually got away with the least damage. Right into the path of Kyle Speece and Chris Wheeler. Wheeler caught the end of that. Just kind of a checkup, accordion effect at that point. No one really wants that to happen, but it's not what these drivers want to see here at all. But pit stops will be happening. Kenny, Bourne, Lawrence. So everybody's going to come down pit road, take their optional. As I wonder if the 60 has any optional that he can take. It looks like he missed his pits. Having a hard time getting in there. Come on, Woods, you can do it. Most people off and away. Wheeler doesn't have that bad of damage, surprisingly. See if Speece does. Looks like he may not have that. Looks like he is maybe out of his car at this point. I'm not seeing him on the cameras at all. Yes, I believe he is. He's out of his car. So I'll roll some quick ads here for you. We're back at Atlanta. We saw that checkup that happened. Took out some drivers. Looks like Wheeler is still down pit road fixing his damage. Leave Speece. Yep, he is out of his car. Just not the night that he has wanted at all for him, and I do not blame him one bit. Probably a little bit furious. He's not had the season that he's wanted so far. He's been in some wrecks, not of his doing. Just gets caught up in him. But Bowen's going to lead him to green. He's going to have the 98 over Burge. McKinney's going to be Bowen's outside, followed by the 7 of Justin Ray. I believe Justin is a newcomer here. But fire off will be off of Bowen. Have to see if he decides not to get out farther, because we see that's what drivers are tending to do. They get out a little bit too far. What they need to is he looks like he decides, or realizes, I don't need to get out super far from these guys. He's going to leave the top, go right back down to the bottom. Decide to work both lanes here. Drivers kind of split between which lane they want to take. We see Kyle Gardner. He's back up into 15th. He's kind of running mid-pack right now. Tate.
Ooh, there's a 9 in the
Oh, they're
22 in the 88 or 3
they're wiggling around. 88 gets into the wall. 99 almost down into the 17 or 71. Almost direct there. Good driving from those drivers to avoid it. That was almost catastrophe for them. Drivers, they kind of get these runs, and then it's just these small little mistakes that we see from them that cause these big accidents. But McKinney's going under Bowen. He's trying to get the position on him right now. He's not going to get it just yet. He's going to actually get passed by the 7. 7 has a 9 or Christopher Lawrence pushing him. That's the teammate pushing the enemy. That's not... McKinney's probably not going to be happy with that, if I'd say. If I was him, you see the 88's trying to go to the outside of the 99. He's getting a little bit loose. Tail happy from him. They're wrapping that high line, running that seam pretty much for those drivers up here.
Yes, that outside line's really king. Especially, I think, once the tires get worn in. If you're able to hold it up there without getting too far up in the marbles and into the wall, I think you'll be pretty set here. As that outside line, again, formed up way quicker and a lot more together than that inside line. And as I say that, Tom Bourne jumps to the inside looking to make a big move for the lead, but I don't think he has the help. I think he's going to end up getting stalled out here. But as I say that, the 71 jumps down.
71's going to come to Bourne's rescue. 71 needs a 98 to get to him, though, because if he doesn't, that's not going to be a really good situation for him at all. 9's got to be careful. You can see it crunching up the... Oh, you actually saw it crunch up the fender of the 7. So netcode was definitely in play there. It was crunching up the fender on the left rear quarter panel. Almost spins the 7 around. Surprised it didn't. So he was definitely about to get turned.
That would have been a big wreck had that unfolded, because he would have went right into Tom, and then he would have just came up in front of the whole field. That could have been really bad there, but good on the 9 for recognizing he was too close, and good on the 7 for not spinning out. Oh,
as we say that, there goes the 7. Down into the 69. Looks like he locks it down. Tate gets net coated hard. Tate's crab walking now. So as I was looking in the back of the pack, a crash happens up front. We'll go back and look what happened here. Maybe a bump from the 9. Yeah, 7's getting up really high in that lane. Very, very high. See what happens. So it looks like I've had to say the 9. Yep, hits him coming off the corner. You were literally just talking about it. If he goes around in front of this, it's going to be a big crash. 46 hits the 9. 7 down into the 22. 57 trying to go through the grass to avoid the 7. Gets caught up in it. So I'll go to actually the blimp so we can see all of what's happening here. So 69 gets into it. 99. Hard contact for the 99 right into the wall. Kenny gets involved. 98 gets involved. Lawrence gets involved. Some drivers just trying to slow down at this point. I believe Tate gets... Oh, he actually hits the 99. I believe that makes him crab walk. When I say crab walk, it's pretty much broke your steering at that point. Just hard impact right in front of the field for some of these drivers. Some of them are going to have to hope that they have a faster pair left now. I don't know if some of them do, though. We'll see who can take their faster pair. We'll see if Tate is... Tate is not crab walking, so I was wrong. He still has steering fine, so he shouldn't have to be worrying about that. They've all come off pit road. I believe this will get them to the end of their... I believe it will get them to the end of the race on fuel, maybe? I believe so. I'm not fully sure yet, that, however.
Yeah, I think it'll just depend on how many cautions and yellows they have.
Especially if you're running mid-pack, you'll be able to stretch your fuel. I could see some drivers probably coming down to top off. That wouldn't be a bad idea from some of them, as I'll probably watch to make sure that they do, or if they don't. Because if I was them and you're close on fuel, might as well come back down pit road, top it off, save fuel as soon as you start getting on the gas. That's one thing that I'm picky about, is I'm always saving fuel, even if it's the start of the race. But Tate, he's gonna come down pit road. I think Tate's steering maybe broke. I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah, it's definitely broke. You can see it offset to the right, so he's got some broken steering for Christopher Tate, the defending season champion here at Ghost Cup Series. See how he's definitely got some broken steering issues. I don't know if that will be able to be fixed. Doesn't seem like it's too terrible, though. So he might use a fast repair if he does have one. Yep, he does have a fast repair. Used it right there. Saved it for that long in the race, but he's still fighting his way to get back on the lead lap. He's just having to deal with that. Just not able to get the break that he needs, and when he does, he gets caught up in it. If he's a lap down, he's going to have to get past Evans and Robert Kinney for the position. I believe. Yes. That's who he'll have to get by for that. Lawrence is going to lead him to green here. He's going to have the 16 of Tom Bourne on his bumper. And was the 60 saving a fast repair? No, he wasn't. 60 is just, that's 60 of Zach Woods is managing to stay up here. Somehow always finds his way back up front. He's got that heavy front end damage, but he's still trucking along. Give it valiant effort for him. I have to see, is this the last pit stop? I believe it possibly should be for some of these drivers, or there might be another caution as we've seen so far during this race, but they're going to get the green flag. Fire off will be from Robert Lawrence, followed by Woods on his outside, to Bourne on the bottom, to a Bowen on Woods. Robert Lawrence has got to be careful, though, because he's gotten out really far on these restarts, and that's ended pretty bad for the guy that does that, because everybody at that point is just able to run right by him. But Woods, he's also been an anchor when he gets in front of people, just based off of the speed that he has. That front end damage has definitely hindered him to a certain point, just not being able to get, as we say that, the 16's around.
There we go.
Oh, that's a big crash. I have to see here. So as we slow it down, it's like it happens with Zachary Woods. Woods looks like he's coming up into the 88 of Noah Owens, clips him, sends him down. Tom Bourne gets caught in it also. Nowhere for him to go. Actually, kind of got lucky that his rear end got kicked up. See if he gets hit after this. If he doesn't get hit, he should be able to save it. And 98 hits him in the rear end. Gartner, who's been saving, running in the back, gets into it. Doesn't look like it's too heavy of an impact for him. Bourne, it's like it's all rear end damage. He should be kind of lucky about that. What should I say? He's going to change it. Will they come back down pit road, top off? I believe they will. Lawrence will lead him down, followed by Bowen. 17 of James Silver. He's up here also. Oh, no, they fake, actually. Bowen stays out. Silver stays out. Roberge stays out. You got somebody slow on pit road. It's like Kenny had to let somebody by. Kyle Gartner has that front end damage. I believe he'll probably take his optional that he can. Wouldn't be a bad idea. As we will go on another commercial break while they're doing this. we're back at Atlanta. You're gonna be on lap 120 of 165, 45 laps left. You know, if you are new here at Ghost Racing Network, don't mind throwing in a subscription. You can always take that back if you feel like it. But Bowen, he's gonna be leading them to green here. He's gonna have the 17 of James Silver to his outside. The 98 of Roberg is gonna be behind Bowen. The 7 of Justin Ray is gonna be behind Justin Silver, or James Silver, excuse me. But far off should be from Bowen here. He's got to learn that you can't get out super far, and I think he realizes that doesn't get out as far as other drivers have been. Kind of lays back just a little bit. See the 98s getting the shove from the 9 of Christopher Lawrence. They go up to the top. Looks like drivers have kind of gravitated towards running that top lane. They don't like running the bottom like I thought they would. Maybe it wears out their tires just a little bit more. I mean, it could be pretty close to old Atlanta on tire, whereas, you know, if you run the bottom at certain tracks and you're full throttle, that's really going to burn away your tires. But Roberge is going to try to go under Bowen. Hops down in front of the 21 of Vickery. Vickery's kind of been a non-factor so far, but he's made his way up front as the race has gone on. So he's sorted through this now. Tate's still a lap down. He's trying to get back on the lap. Wheeler is kind of just trucking around here right now if you got some people that are out of the race officially. Roberge trying to take the fight to Bowen on the bottom. Vickery's on Roberge's bumper, trying to give him a push. Drivers have been shoving. It's not been going exactly as planned. Need to be pretty careful with these pushes, because what we've seen, drivers just push in the tri-oval and in the corners and just hook each other, and that's what I think they slowly starting to realize. You know, you can't really hit with these. Maybe in some other vehicles you can, but these are very, very sensitive to being pushed, especially if you're a Chevy, because that front end will just, you'll move right off of it.
I feel like you almost you can only push on the backstretch, it seems. You know, pushing in the corners or pushing in the front stretch, you're basically like asking for an accident. I'm sure we'll see it come, you know, come closer to the end of the race, but as of right now, there's not really a need for it. There's not even really a need for any two-wide racing, as everyone's kind of single-filed up, except going to the back there where the 46 and the 98 are trying to make the inside work. I just don't see it happening right now. There's not a lot of help.
Yeah, they're kind of, I think they've realized, man, I just can't do anything. As the 69 goes under the 34 of Lawrence, he doesn't have anywhere to go. He can't slide up in front of him. So he's going to go to the back of this group. He's going to have to hope that he can kind of just latch onto him at this point. The 99 of Bab, I think 69 lifts and realizes it, puts the 98 in the wall. Nothing of his doing, though. 98 saw the 69 lift.
That was really good by him. I think I'm not too sure if he hit the wall, but it seems like he did a good job keeping it off him, as they're about to go 4 wide behind the 98, almost for that 10th position. But the 98 now has lost that front pack.
It's going to be hard for him to do really anything. He's going to have to hope that this second pack will kind of adopt him pretty much, because if he doesn't get in line, he's going to have to hope that he can hold on to the back of it. Gartner, who is involved, he's back here also. He's been running about back of the pack the whole entire day, so he's just deciding, I don't want to be up front, and I don't blame him, because where the action starts to happen. But Bowen's leading, followed by Lawrence. Silver's up there. Silver, we haven't saw him up there a lot. Justin Ray, he's up here, has no bumper cover, but doesn't really need it because his spoiler's still pretty straight. Lawrence, he's been up front pretty often. McKinney, been a familiar face here tonight. Wally Babb hasn't. And the 69, he kind of has, kind of hasn't at the same time. But I'm still surprised that Zachary Woods in the 60. Actually, no, he took his faster pair, so he has a good front end now. So he was holding on to that thing as long as he could, it seems. But they're going to be running up on a lap car of the 88 of Noah Owens. He'll go a lap down easily. He's just going to get just ran right by. He has some damage that he's and trying to take his optional on. He's going to try to maybe tuck in, get behind this group here. But well, that's the only shot he's going to truly have. '69's looking on Bab, trying to get around. You see the 16 of Bourne looking on those guys also. As they're moving around, he's just trying to find a little bit of a gap to, you know, if I can get my fender in there, then I've got the position pretty much. But they've got to be very, very careful with doing that. We saw so many people go around just off those pushes that have gone wrong tonight.
There's been a lot of bumper hooking going on. That's what it feels like. It feels like the bumper hook is very strong with these cars, and it could just be me, but that's just how I feel. The bumper hook is definitely something everyone needs to watch out for. You know, if you're a teammate, I'm definitely communicating with my teammates like, oh, like I'm like, don't hook me, don't give me the bumper hook. You know, just stuff like that. Doing everything in my power to avoid any incident
We'll add on.
where I could be getting hooked.
Yeah, I will add on to that. It does seem like these not next gens, these Gen 6 Cup cars, they do. Oh, we got somebody around. That's Bourne. What happened? Oh, that's someone else. What happened back here? We were just talking about guys getting loose. Looks like the 69 clipped the 16 of. That was Bourne. Excuse me. See what happened. Well, we look at the 69. I think he just clipped the 16 of Tom Bourne getting it into the corner. Yeah, 69 comes up into the 16 of Tom Bourne, sends him spinning. 16 corrects it right in the path of the 7. Drivers have nowhere to go at that point. Woods gets into another incident again. He just has nowhere to go. It's just hard night for some of these drivers. Just not able to get what they want, it seems, at all. But I believe you'll probably see some people come down pit road. Yep, as Bowen come down pit road. James Silvers came down pit road. Lawrence has Kenny, the 71, the 98, the 60 of Woods. Woods will probably take his optional 57. Most likely take his optional. Also, I'd say Gartner might come down and fix his optional also. As you can see him kind of being the straggler here. Roos is going to come down. Those two are teammates. Maybe working together. 16's flying into pit road. See if he gets slowed down in time. We'll see if Gartner takes his fast repair.
Yeah, I feel like right now, if you're someone with damage and you want to compete for the win, you're basically going to have to start, you know, getting that damage fixed now, or else you're never going to be able to get it fixed without losing all your time.
You know, we saw Kyle Gartner. He came down pit road, and he did use his fast repair that he had. So getting the freshest car possible. But let's see who got the wave around. I believe it would be Tate. Tate finally gets back on the lead lap. I believe it may have been him. Some drivers sitting in pit road to fix all the optional that they have. 7 and the 71 probably fixing all their optional. Just going to beat the pace car off. But we have two teammates up here in the 9 and the 46. But two teammates now. It's only two teammates up here, I believe. Some drivers may come down and top off. Reese is out. Bourne is still sitting in pit road. Roberge is out. Ray is still sitting in pit road from that front end damage that he has. He'll go a lap down. 16 will probably go a lap down also. Drivers are probably not very happy with how it's gone so far for some of them. Just getting caught up in incidents that they really have nowhere to go, and that's just a byproduct of super speedway racing. Once a crash happens, you have maybe one shot to avoid it at these tracks, especially when everybody's close together. And if you miss your shot, you're going to get involved in it, and that's going to make some people very, very unhappy. And I do not blame them one bit.
No, obviously there's been a lot of yellows and it's been a long race, but you know, these drivers are cut out for it. The sun's starting to set here. I'm sure we'll be in for a good finish.
11 cautions so far into a 165 lap race on lap 132. So they have roughly 32 laps to left when they come green, I believe. These drivers that are up front may be able to make it on fuel by this point. I think fuel tank will probably last them about 50 laps. They pitted on lap 113, and then they've had these caution laps that have definitely helped them stretch their fuel longer than what they would have been able to if it stayed green fully. But running up front is going to hurt their fuel mileage even more. They're going to have to be really careful about that, but I think that they should be fine. But far off should be from Lawrence. McKinney's going to be to his inside. Lawrence is going to have the 21 of Vickery, and McKinney's going to have the 99 of Wally Babb. Green flags in the air. McKinney waits up, so it's going to be a huge checkup on that inside lane. Lawrence is very far out there. He might want to start dragging back to these guys because they're going to be able to mount a run on him very quick. See Vickery got the 17 of James Silver pushing him. Lawrence doesn't come to the bottom in front of his teammate of McKinney. Decides not to. You see that? What is the 10? The 10's coming out of nowhere. You see Kenny run the top. Oh, we got somebody turn now.
Wreck, big wreck. Big wreck as there goes half the field in the back.
Oh, gosh. I do not know what happened. I kind of was watching what happened up front from some of these drivers. See, where does the wreck start then? I'll go from the chopper so I can see. I think it starts with the 9 of Christopher Lawrence somewhere. Looks like he gets put. No, looks like. So coming off of 1 and 2, 99 of Bab gets into him, sends him around, down into everybody. Bowen is up all 4 tires off the ground. Lawrence looks like he actually doesn't get the most damage of that. The driver's just trying to check up at that point. 17's on the brakes hard. Bowen, he has some heavy damage from it. Gartner's going to hit his teammate. Oh, yeah, he hits his teammate. 57 gets squeezed into the wall. Gartner had just taken his fast pair. 71 hard contact also. Everybody just can't check up like they need to. Probably already hard on the brakes to begin with. But Lawrence seems like he got the kind of away with most of the damage there. He didn't have heavy damage from that crash. He kind of got lucky with that at that point, I'd say. Bring in.
Because I feel like if you escaped without a lot of damage there, you're pretty lucky.
We'll bring in the 46 of Dalton McKinney here real quick. Drag it all the way down here. Hey Dalton, this is Bryson Gavin in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, so you're sitting up front. It's going to be, I believe, about 30-ish laps to go. Now, how do you feel about your chances so far in this race?
I'm excited, you know. So far, it's kind of been a demolition derby, so we still got a clean car. We got some track position. Laps are slowly ticking off, so hopefully we'll just have a shot at the end, and I'll be happy.
I mean, you lost your teammate, Christopher Lawrence. Is that going to change, how you have to drive up front now?
Yeah, it's definitely not as fun when you don't have that support behind you. I can count on Lawrence pretty well staying behind me. These guys here, I'm sure, will gang up on me, but hopefully we go single file and I can just lead some laps here and get towards the end.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go, and I hope to see you in victory lane tonight, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That was Dalton McKinney, a driver for Freedom Motorsports. He lost his teammate in that wreck of Lawrence. Lawrence and Gartner are still in pit road. Gartner had just used his fast repair, and he has no front end, so just bad timing for Gartner overall. He's going to remain on the lead lap, though, but he has no front end, so he's going to be heavily down on power, just really bad on power, so his chances will probably be shot. Woods is still in it. Tate had to battle to get his lap back. He's made it back up here now. Kind of surprised that he's able to run in that Ghost Energy Drink paint scheme. Now, driver's getting a little bit impatient, and I think they just need to realize, man, you're going to wash up when these tires get heated up. It's going to be a little bit harder to control because they're just kind of washing up into each other ever so slightly, and then it's really in the front of the pack that's causing all of it, because once somebody wrecks in the front, they've got the whole field that has to try to avoid them, and just drivers aren't able to do that all the time. And I believe that's what they just need to realize here late in the race is they'll have a little bit less than 30 laps to go here. They'll have 38 laps left when it goes green, if it goes green, if there's not a delayed green, that is.
As we are slowly but surely approaching the end of this race as well, so we're going to start to see the drivers get a little more race here. 136 out of 165. We're going to have 30 laps to go here as they take the green flag, which may seem like a lot of time, but some of these drivers may not view it as such.
The driver's going to have to be pretty careful. I believe the fire off will be from Dalton McKinney, who actually started on the pole. He's got the 17 of Silver behind him. Lawrence has the 77 of Tyler Evans behind him. Well, McKinney realized I don't need to get out so far, because it seems like when drivers have done that, they realize, man, I probably shouldn't get out that far as Lawrence, yet they've kind of left him on the bottom. Nobody has gone with him at that point. He's going to be the Lone Ranger trying to stay with these guys. He's going to have to side draft as hard as he can, but he's not going to have any help for a while. The next closest car is going to be Tate. Tate goes down to the bottom. Maybe trying to get around Woods. 17 shucks Dalton McKinney out. He leaves him. 77 follows. Can Tate and the 46 get together and work as teammates? Because they are here on Freedom Motorsports. 10 of Robert Kinney. He's going bottom also, trying to help Tate. Maybe realizes I don't kind of want to be in that top lane right now. It kind of seems to be a little bit too many accidents. The 46 is going to put the 77, or thought about putting the 77 through wide. The 34 has gotten Tate to his bumper now. So now that bottom lane can finally start to mount a challenge. You see the 16 go top to bottom, switching lanes, deciding where he wants to run. 17 of Silvers is still being a thorn in Tate's side. Tate's come all the way from the back. He's going to try to take the fight to Robert at this point. I don't know if he can get it. He's got Kenny shoving him, so he's got a good shot at doing it. It's just, can he get a good enough push from Kenny? Down the back stretch, he gets ahead just a little bit, and it goes right back to Lawrence. Kenny's all over the bumper of Tate. He is a Toyota, so he can afford to shove just a little bit more than a Chevy could, just because it's a little bit flatter than a Chevy. I think that might be working to Tate's advantage, as Robert, he's a Ford, but he has a Chevy behind him, so Silvers won't be able to push like the other brands would be able to. So I think he's got to be very careful with that, and I think he realizes that he's not getting up to the bumper of Lawrence, to be exact. He's kind of laying off ever so slightly from him.
As we're seeing that inside line for the first time this race, working a little bit better than the outside, and as we stay that, we're going to see the 54 jump up to the top and leave the 10 and the 46 out to dry.
See what happens to the 10 and the 46. 52 gets loose back there, I think, off the bumper of somebody. Saw him shoot down to the bottom of the track. Now it's going to be Robert Kinney's turn. He's going to have Dalton McKinney on his bumper, but Tate has the flat end of the Ford of the 34 of Robert Lawrence, so he's going to be able to give him really good shoves down into the corners, down from the back straights, back stretch, front stretch, anywhere he can shove, since that Ford has a pretty flat front end, just not in the corners, to be exact. That'd be a pretty bad idea, but he's starting to put a little bit of a gap running that high line, and he's starting to fall back ever so slightly. Tate's just running as high as he can get on there without getting in the marbles. And running up high might be cooling down his tires just a little bit, because nobody's been out there. There's not as much heat in the pavement where he's running, so it might be a good idea to be doing that. But I believe he has pitted on lap 1:30. Yeah, so he will be good on fuel. It will not be a problem for him, as there'll be 23 to go when they come to the line. Middle lane.
You're definitely going to want to be keeping care of your tires and also monitoring your fuel situation. Still not too sure on what these drivers' situations are, but I'm sure if you're leading right now, you might be questioning a little bit about, oh, do I have enough fuel to make it to the end? And maybe even debating on switching with the guy behind you. But as of right now, that does not seem to be an issue, but definitely look for it to play out later once you approach the end here.
One driver I see that may have an issue might be the 46 of Dalton McKinney. He pitted lap 117, so he's going to go farther than all these other drivers. These other drivers have 13 laps, or 13 more laps of fuel than he does. So if anybody's going to have to be worried, it's going to have to be Dalton McKinney. Dalton probably will need a couple of cautions if he is short to be able to stretch it, but I believe he should be fine. As I saw early in the race, I believe they went close to 50 laps on fuel, and he is running mid-pack, being able to save the fuel to get to the end. I think Lawrence is very, very fine running behind Tate right now. I don't think he'll be trying to make any moves as they're getting inside of 20 to go when they come by next time. He's in 9 of Lawrence. He's got heavy damage. Gartner kind of sticking with this last pack back here. He's got no front end, so he's got heavy power. Lawrence has to come back down pit road. Probably might have some damage that he has to fix. Tate's getting a little bit higher in that groove. Might need to get a little bit careful, because if he gets into that wall, we saw the wall earlier, it slowed down a driver a dramatic amount. That was, and Hervatin had nowhere to go, and he hit him. I mean, nothing that he could have done at that point. So, but Rodriguez, he's jumped down. He's got, I believe that's the 10. I believe that's the 10 of Robert Kinney pushing him. They've got Zachary Woods. Zachary had that heavy front end damage earlier, saved his fast repair, then got into a wreck immediately as it followed. But he's trying to do all that he can to get a good finish here. The 57's moving around off the bumper of the 10, though. He's got to be careful with the shoves. They're making as a 17 jumps down to the bottom. He's going to try to take the lead from Tate. Tate might come down and try to side draft.
Because I
Silvers.
just don't see it working. It is going to take a lot, it seems, to get for someone to get around Tate on that outside line, as that 17 seems like he might be able to do it here. He's not going to clear himself. I don't know if he's waiting for the 77. He might have made the wrong choice there, trying to drag the 77 along with him.
He's still clear. He can go up if he wants to, but I believe the reason that mainly happened is because the 34, Robert Lawrence, he wasn't up on Tate's bumper like he was before, as they've got clear, or Silvers has gotten Tate, or clear of Tate. 77 slides right up,
Whoa,
brings the 17, the 3 wide, 52 into the 34.
The 34 is going to go around.
Went 3 wide and just did not work at all. It was a 52 that shoved it in there. We'll go watch the replay here real quick. I had a feeling that was going to go bad as soon as I saw that happen at that point. See him go. He goes to the middle. They start to check up. Net codes into the 34. McKinney sees part in front of him. 16 gets tail whipped. Hard contact for that driver. I believe that is Tom Bourne. I don't think Vernon Reese has anywhere to go at that point. Vernon has nowhere to go. Hits him. Tom Bourne's had a hard night. He tried to go 3 wide, and it just did not work out one bit for him at all. But I see drivers, they're going to come down pit road. Tate's going to come down pit road. That's surprising. Bowen's going to come down pit road also. Followed by the 21 to victory. 0-0 over Vernon Reese. Roos will come down also. Roos has some heavy front end, or not heavy front end damage, but some front end damage that he might try to fix. Or maybe he's just going to take tires. Drivers only have 3 sets now, sets for the whole season. So they can't be burning them off very quickly. They have to be very careful with what they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to have guys come in and top off. Maybe even to add a little extra weight to their cars so it's a little more easy to control. As we saw Christopher Tate, your race leader, come in. He's going to take his, I'm assuming, his last set of tires here with 15 to go.
You got a driver in the infield care center. Oh, no, he just hopped out of that. He was in the infield care center. That was the 88 of Noah Owens. I believe he's decided to park it for the night. He does not want to race anymore. He was up front, and then looks like he just got back in the pack, and everything just kind of unraveled at that point. It's hard for him. Some drivers have had hard nights so far, just not gone the way that it's wanted to. There's nothing you can really do as to a certain point. It's just the product of, racing these speedways. It's just going to be crashes, drivers getting into each other, hooking each other, giving each other bumps in just the wrong spot. And I think that's what we've truly saw here tonight. Just drivers not really used to running the new Atlanta here. So Tate does have fresh tires. We'll see. I don't know if Tate, well, I'm not sure how much of a difference fresh tires are going to make here at Atlanta. I haven't really saw them make that much of a difference here.
Yeah, they will make a bit of a difference, but I don't know if they make up if it's a big enough difference for him to get out of the hole that he's now put himself in, as he has dropped dramatically. I believe he will cross the line and be scored in 10th position. That is a very far drop. Makes me wonder if maybe he wasn't too confident on the fuel situation as well. Yeah, that is definitely odd there from Christopher Tate to be pitting.
Tate, he forfeited, I believe he was running 3rd or 4th. He goes back to 11th, I believe. I'm not sure yet. Back to actually 12th, so kind of an odd call by Tate.
Maybe he could also be banking on a caution. Like I said, he might like the extra weight of fuel in the car. It's just there's a lot of factors here that could come into play. As when we take the green flag, it will be about 14 laps to go here at Atlanta.
Drivers, you wouldn't think fuel makes that much of a difference with the grip, but in the next gens, it's especially apparent. I talked to a builder, you get loose loose later in the run because the spoiler starts bouncing because the fuel burn off is just ridiculous. So maybe Tate is trying to get a little bit more grip, putting the extra fuel in the car.
Yep, absolutely. That was one of the tricks I have learned in recent memory is if you don't like the way your car's handling on a super speedway, put some gas in it.
Just ways that that rear end down with the fire off. It's going to be from the 17. The 57 of Rodriguez is going to be to his outside.
Well,
Hopefully
Matt
drive-
Rodriguez did not get going on that outside line here, as the 17 and the 77 are going to break away.
Yeah, he had to have missed the shift. There's no way he should be going this slow. It's the only thing I can think of that could have happened to him.
As the cause of that is they're not even going to get a very big run here to the 17 is always big block there to block Rodriguez, as the 77 is also going to move up and try and get the push to get around the 17.
Driver's getting really racy now, coming to 13 to go. Gardner has that front end damage. He's made his way back up to the pack. Starting to see McKinney. McKinney's coming back down on that bottom. He's got Christopher Burge pushing him. He's going to go by James Silver. Will McKinney run that bottom lane, or will he hop up in that top lane? Tate, what has happened to him? He's a straggler now. He's got nobody to work with. Maybe he can hope that Roos will drag his brake to him. He's kind of in the middle of nowhere right now, but McKinney's jumped up in front of Silver. McKinney's going to have to start working both lanes now here at Atlanta. It's going to be pretty hard. He's going to be looking in his mirror driving at this point, I'd say. That can get you turned very, very easily if you are not careful, and I've saw that happen multiple times when drivers trying to look in their mirror and trying to drive at the same time. It just does not end up good.
Yeah, he's going to have to work both those lanes. If that inside line can even get, formed up, as we've seen them struggle to do a little here, and that could be because they didn't have the help. But if I'm someone right now, I am definitely looking to jump from the high lane to the bottom to make a move at the end.
Yeah, you got to hope, though, at super speedways, if nobody goes with you, that's a very, very hopeless feeling, because nobody goes with you and you just see everybody just freight train you on that outside. So when you go, you got to be sure that you got somebody that's not going to leave you out. Zach Woods is wiggling around.
What a good catch there.
And you got a bump from Matthew Rodriguez. Really got loose going into that corner. Able to save it.
That's what we're talking about, pushing in the corners there. I think Matt might have gotten a little too excited there and gotten a little too close for comfort, and that's what caused that there. But no harm, no foul, as we are still green here, as we see, I believe, that is the 10 car jumping to the inside there, trying to get a bit of a run going.
He's trying to probably time it to get around the 77. Not going to get there just yet. You see Tate's caught up to the back of the pack finally. Came down pit road, might have not been a smart choice, as we're inside 10 to go, but he's got three teammates in Roos, or he's got two teammates in front of him in Roos and Kyle Gartner. Maybe Roos can pull a scientific experiment here and see how fast he can go to the front, as he's trying to do one here at Ghost to see how he can get the wall to move. Might want to see if he can get to the front here.
Yeah, one thing I will say is we have not seen a lot of three-wide racing, so I'm really curious how that is going to go for these drivers if they do attempt it here.
Kenny's gaining on that bottom lane, so McKinney's gonna have to start coming down, cutting the air, and then going right back in front of Silvers, as they're gonna get a good run now. Kenny's gonna lose time. I would get a run, but he doesn't. You see drivers moving around. Woods back in, kicks out on his car, trying to throw it into that corner, trying to stay lined up perfectly. And I believe drivers, they don't need to be necessarily lined up exactly. You can get offset just a little bit, but don't be yanking that wheel around, because that's when you can easily go around McKinney. He's going to get a good run into 1 and 2. He's going to break even with Dalton McKinney on the outside, but McKinney might pull away from Robert down the front stretch as the 17 comes to his bumper, gives him a shove. Looks like the 17, he's been a pretty good shover to this point. He knows when to do it. You can see, most of these cars actually have a beat in rear end from being hit so much, and I believe that's really a product of the Chevys with the pointed nose. It's just hard to shove, and you get damage that you don't really mean to.
Yes, those pointed front ends always, it's going to throw really a wrench in the plans. That if I'm someone looking for a draft buddy, I'm definitely going to be looking for a Ford over a Chevy or a Toyota. But with this late in the race, coming to 5 to go, you can't be that picky. You just kind of got to go with whoever's got the run. And I also don't even see a single Ford up here. Now that I actually look, I think it's only Chevys and Toyotas. The only Ford I can see is the 98.
Yeah, they're
stuck
gonna.
in the back there.
Oh, they're coming up on a lap car. Get out of the way. He does. Goes right to the apron. Tate's starting to pick his way through the field very, very slowly. Within 5 to go. There'll be 4 to go when they come to line. That top lane has fallen apart, though. McKinney had the lead. Now he's just starting to fall back. Robert Kennedy's getting a good shove from Rodriguez. It's more aero than anything. Drivers aren't touching each other. They're just letting the air be pushed between them. Kenny fights hard on that outside, trying to get around Kenny on the bottom. I believe this might come down to the line between these two drivers. Whoever can get a good run. You're going to start seeing side drafts go really hard. Tate goes to the middle, decides not to. Thinks better of it.
There's an interesting note from race control, if you just heard, is that now once they cross the line this time, so right now, they're now opening that apron up for passing opportunities. They have waived that yellow line, I guess red line rule at Atlanta, and they are now going to be able to use that apron.
That's going to be interesting. Tate's going to try to get to the outside of the 77 of Evans. Tate has a little bit fresher tires.
As I think the 54, I think he might be a little too late. And as I say that, he's going to put it 3 wide with the 77 and the 49.
77 squeezing his way through there.
77 is going to be put up in the wall. Good news for the 54, bad news for the 77. As 77 is going to fall all the way back now, and the 54 has made his way back up to 3rd in that outside line as that outside line continues to chug along here.
I believe this is probably going to be down to the wire. The 46 of Dalton McKinney. He's being shoved by the 17 of James Silver. My voice is giving out. Finally, it tried to last as long as it could. 17's looking on. Dalton McKinney just not there yet. White flag in the air at Atlanta.
It's going to be a drag race here between the 10 and the 46. I'm really curious if that 54 will take it 3 wide. To see the 46 jump down to block the 10. As that 54 will now hopefully try and shove that 17 to the outside. But that 46 is doing a very good job as here they go 3 wide. As the 46 makes a big block there on the 10. That might have been the race-winning move.
Kenny, where is Tate coming from? Tate might come home and still second. 3 wide now. McKinney go all the way to the top. Tate's trying to pass him at the line. It's going to be... Who's it going to be at the line? I believe it was McKinney.
46. Yeah, Dalton McKinney wins at the line in a dramatic ending there with the 54, who came out of nowhere in the last couple laps to snag a 2nd place finish.
Okay, we'll go back and watch that replay. Sorry, my voice is finally giving out. I knew it wouldn't make it the whole way, but Tate came out of nowhere. We'll watch the finish here. Slow motion. How close was it? It's just super close here. I'm trying to... That is so close between those two. Dalton McKinney just edges out Christopher Tate for the win. Tate almost goes back to back. As McKinney, he's going to burn it down here at Atlanta with that beat in front end. He decided to work the bottom lane. Probably wasn't that bad of a choice for him at all. Made the right choice and threw a block on Robert Kenny. But Dalton McKinney takes home the win.
That block by the 46 there to block the 10 going into 3 and 4, that was the move that won him the race. If the 10 got under him, I think it would have been over between that and the 54. Pardon me, the 54 at the end there. I think that was definitely the move that won him that race.
Yeah, he came down and made the block at just the right moment. If he would have went a little bit later, I don't think he would have won the race. And then Tate, out of 3 and 4, running that high line, just got a massive run out of nowhere. That seems to be something that Tate's commonly known for. He just comes out of nowhere late in the races, and you're like, where did Tate come from? Then here he is on that high line, and almost gets McKinney at the line for a repeat win. He won at Michigan. He was trying to get a repeat here. But,
he was so close.
Just right there. He's going to be probably kicking himself after that, knowing how Tate is. He always wants to win. Even if he does have multiple wins. I can't blame him at all, though. As we'll bring in the 21 of Jeffrey Vickery here. Hey, Vickery, this is Bryson Gavin in the booth. You got a copy, man?
I got you. What's up, man?
Man, so you were able to sort through all that stuff that happened tonight and come home third. How did the race go for you overall, though?
It was good. We tried running out back all race, and then finally started pushing it. And I had 0x up to a little, like once I was up front, and then we got hit. And I don't know. We were just trying to stay in the back all race and try to keep the car clean, and it ended up working out. And then that last couple laps, I mean, that was pretty fun. It was a blast. And I don't know, P3, I'll take it.
Yeah, man, Tate came out of nowhere and almost stole it. And you, not a bad finish at all, podium finish. But before I let you go, is there anybody that you want to thank? Anybody that you might want to shout out that may be watching the stream?
Yeah, shout out to all the teammates. We have a great group of guys. I think our Xfinity driver won Xfinity race tonight. Shout out to Cumberland Farms and their 99-cent iced coffees because I drink it and they pay me for it.
That's always good, man. But good third place finish tonight. I'll let you go here.
Thanks, man.
That was Jeffrey Vickery. I'll bring him back to his room. We'll bring in the second place car of Christopher Tate. Hey, Tate, this is Bryson Gavin in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir.
Man, you were ever so close coming down to the line, and McKinney just edged you out. But how did your night go overall?
There was good, and there was a lot of bad. The headset was cutting out tonight again. I don't know why, but that put me a lap down around like lap 60, and just kind of bad thing after another. And luckily, I finally caught a break and got a caution, stay out of trouble, and I had to very aggressively make my way up to the end, or make my way through the field at the end there. But glad I did. Good job on Dalton on getting the win. It was a good race, or good race for Freedom Motorsports, and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, when I was kind of questioning, you coming down pit road, I was like, why is Tate coming down pit road? But no, worked out for you in the end. But before I let you go, is there anybody that you think, any sponsors you want to shout out that may be watching the stream here tonight?
Yeah, 3F Racing, lots of stuff coming up with them. I'm pretty excited about Grit Marketing, you for not sponsoring, but broadcasting the league, and Hubka for putting everything on. Everyone that races in it, it's always pretty fun. Tonight was kind of a downer, just with all the wrecks and cautions we had, but it's bound to happen sometimes. But overall, it's a pretty good league to run in. I enjoy it every week, and usually always a good time.
Yeah, man. Well, good second place finish. I'll let you go here then.
I appreciate it.
That was Christopher Tate, defending season champion at Ghost Cup Series. Comes home second, tries to repeat, just fell ever so short. As I'll bring in the 46 of Dalton McKinney. Hey, Dalton, this is Bryson Gavin in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I'm here.
Man, Tate was coming off that corner, but you were able to hold him off. But how did the race go for you the whole entire night?
Just survival, more or less, on that last, it would have been last restart, I believe, second to last restart. I drove really hard. I think I came from ninth, and I knew whoever got to the lead was going to have a pretty good shot at it, just because you can control both lines here pretty nicely. So I just knew that was kind of the time to go for the lead. And yeah, I saw Tate coming off of 4, and I thought I was going to lose it, but I was able to slow his momentum up just enough.
Yeah, I mean, you threw the right block on Kenny, and then off the corner. I honestly had no clue who had won the race because it was so close. Tate tried to go back to back. But now, how does it feel getting your first win of the season here in the Ghost Cup Series?
Yeah, first win with Ghost ever. I ran 3-4 races last year, and I got I think top 3 or top 5 each time. So kind of a rough start. Got wrecked out last week. I got a top 10, I think. But it's nice to finally pull one off, and to see Tate finish second too. We had some other guys in the top 10. Gartner and Roos finished 8th and 9th, so it was a good run for everyone on the team.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad finish. First one of the season. No, it's got to feel good. But is there any sponsors, anybody you want to shout that maybe watching the stream tonight before I let you go?
Yeah, my buddy Scott watches, my little cousin, little Joe, my family, my little sister, all the guys on the team, my buddy Sean. I don't know if I said him or not, but just anyone that watches, supports me, roots me on. It's a lot of fun, and thanks for Hubka for putting the league on, and you guys for giving us a broadcast. It gives us something to go back and watch, and we all really appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. Good win tonight, though, man. You were filling for me last season, so always good to see drivers that I'm familiar with win, but good job tonight, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So that was Dalton McKinney, race winner go through the finishing order here. Dalton McKinney comes first. Christopher Tate tries to get McKinney at the line, just wasn't able to. Vickery comes third. Fourth, James Silvers. Fifth, Robert Kinney. Sixth, Matthew Rodriguez. Seventh, Christopher Burge. Eighth, Kyle Gartner. Ninth, Christian Ruse. 10th, Tyler Evans. 11th, Wally Babb. 12th, Zach Woods. 13th, Vernon Reese. 14th, Devin Scroggins. 15th, Chris Reese. 16th, Mike Sabanowski. 17th, Rylan Fonchinato. 18th, Chris Wheeler. 19th, Jacob Boehm. 20th, Robert Lawrence. 21st, Tom Bourne. 23rd, Christopher Lawrence. Or 22nd, Christopher Lawrence. 23rd, Justin Ray. 24th, Noah Owens. 25th, Kyle Spees. 26th, Dylan Hervaten. 27th, David Modesbaugh. Now, Hervaten didn't have the race that he wanted. Some of these drivers didn't have the race that they wanted here at all tonight. But, Gavin, what were, your thoughts on the race tonight here?
I mean, I think it was a great race. There was lots of passing, lots of racing, lots of accidents. But when you come to tracks like these, you got to expect that. This and Daytona, Talladega, always lots going on. Definitely kept the racing interesting. We had a great finish at the end there. Yeah, I mean, for my first time broadcasting this league, I mean, I was pretty I was pretty entertained, I must say.
Yeah, man, not a bad finish. Wrecks are going to happen, especially when you're this close together. Drivers just kind of getting a little bit antsy, washing off the bottom into each other. Just what seemed what most of the issues were. But I believe next week, let me look at their schedule really quick. I believe they won't be at. I believe they might be at a road course. No, they will be. Oh gosh, they will be at Martinsville next week. So going short track race in Martinsville is known for people not being able to keep their tempers, and hopefully my throat will be back fine. It gave out at the end. I knew it wouldn't be able to last, but I'll roll these ads and I will let you all go.